on the all-new 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. A Libyan man who allegedly has the blood of 270 people on his hands is now in U.S. custody. The former Libyan intelligence operative accused of building the bomb that brought down Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland in December 1988. Stephanie Bernstein lost her husband Michael in the attack, says she wondered if she would ever see this day.
At first I thought I was dreaming when I was told what had happened, but it's happened, and I'm incredibly grateful that this man will be tried in the United States.
The suspect due to make his initial court appearance in U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C. Iran's government continues to mete out the severest of punishments for some of those involved in recent protests across the country, with a second person being put to death.
The prisoner had been detained and convicted amid nationwide protests challenging the country's theocracy. The authorities had aired footage on state television which it claimed showed him stabbing two security force members to death and running away.
That's correspondent Charles De Ledesma. Arizona's outgoing governor continues doing what he can to secure the border while he can.
Work crews have steadily erected hundreds of double-stacked shipping containers topped by razor wire along Arizona's eastern boundary with Mexico in a bold show of border enforcement by Republican Governor Doug Ducey, even as he prepares to leave office. Ducey pressed forward with construction of the barrier over the objections of the U.S. government, environmentalists, and an incoming Democrat governor who has called it a poor use of resources. Federal agencies have told Arizona that construction on U.S. land is unlawful and ordered it to halt. Ducey responded October 21st by suing federal officials over their objections, sending the dispute to court. Bernie Bennett reporting.
On Wall Street, Dow futures up 104 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-940-6161. That's 1-800-940-6161. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-940-6161. SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
China plans to stop tracking some travel, potentially reducing the likelihood people will be forced into quarantine for visiting COVID-19 hotspots.
The app used a person's phone signal to determine whether they'd traveled to an area with infections over the previous 7 days. It's been operational for nearly 3 years, but will stop working at the end of today. Social media users welcome the app's retirement. Despite that, Chinese medical experts expect to see a surge in cases in the coming months. Official figures show the number of infections was down on Monday, but that could just be because China is no longer committed to mass testing.
The BBC's Michael Bristow. Tragedy in the UK. 3 young boys who fell through ice covering a lake in central England have died. A 4th hospitalized. Rescuers pulled the boys, 8, 10, and 11 years of age, from the icy waters yesterday afternoon and rushed them to the hospital. News and analysis, townhall.com. It is a lot of money for a pair of pants, and they're used at that.
Pulled from an 1857 shipwreck off the coast of North Carolina, work pants, described as the oldest known pair of jeans in the world, selling for $114,000. But now there's disagreement about whether the pants actually have any ties to modern-day blue jeans. Officials for Levi Strauss say any claims about their origin is pure speculation. That's because they predate the first jeans the company officially manufactured in 1873. Jason Walker reporting.
Twitter is once again attempting to launch its premium service a month after a previous attempt failed. The social media company says it will let users buy subscriptions to Twitter Blue and get a blue checkmark and access some special features starting today. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The abolition, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to it.
Yeah.
Happy Monday.
It's an oxymoron what you're saying there.
I know. Well, you know what? I need to start this Monday off with a big thank you.
Oh, really?
My wife and I had an event that occurred to us yesterday.
Okay.
That was very nice. Very out of the sorts.
All right. I'm intrigued.
So yesterday, my wife and I went and got up and did our Sunday chores or Sunday errands, and so one of the things we had to do was go out and get some groceries.
Mm-hmm.
So my wife and I went to shop at Farmers North.
Okay.
Because it's close to our house.
Sure.
So we're like, all right, let's go visit Farmers North.
It's like in your backyard, basically.
Pretty much. If I wasn't lazy, I could walk there.
Mm-hmm.
But I am, so I didn't. And
yeah, but who wants to carry all those bags back?
That's a true statement. That's the excuse I told myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went and shopped at Farmers and got our groceries, as we do. Now, I don't know if this is perfect timing, so I'm going to say this definitely excelled the next series of events that happened, but no guarantee, but I'm pretty sure it did.
Sure.
So we're in checkout there with our, as you do in Farmers, you pick your lane and they grab your basket and go around the side while you get in the pay lane there and wait your turn. And so we do that as one does at Farmers, and so we're sitting there, and while we're sitting there doing that, and this is again a common occurrence for my wife and I. She ran into either a student or former student. I'm not sure which.
Okay.
Based on the size, if it's not a current student, she's not. This child was not very far. It was a younger student.
Okay.
So the student came up and gave my wife a hug, and which happens all the time.
Isn't that funny that she's the famous friend? Like
oh yeah,
it happens to me all the time. I'm the guy on the radio, and I hang out with my friends, and like, and I know her, and I know him, and I'm like, I don't know anybody. I just sit in a box and talk to myself all day.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm in the same thing. Yeah, my wife is. I go to any store, any place, just together. It's usually they're yelling her name out and coming giving her a hug, and I get recognized in the weird times. After I spent $50 in fast food to the drive-thru, and they're like, "Hey, you're the radio guy. It's not all mine. Don't judge me."
It's midnight at a Tuesday on a Whataburger, and you're making questionable decisions. You're like, "Aren't you that guy from the radio?"
It's usually the cops, and I'm no pants, and I'm in the middle of one of the streets. No, I'm just kidding.
It's never a good scenario, and that's when you need to call a lawyer.
Yeah, you're the radio guy. Yes, I am.
Yes, I am. At that moment, you're like, "Oh, yeah, that's me."
Yeah, that's how it normally goes. But
and then the people are alive. Aren't you my teacher?
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're at Farmers there. We're in the checkout, and as we're waiting for our turn to check out there, a student recognizes Kim and gives Kim a hug, and niceties, and goes about their day. So anyway, we're paying for our groceries are getting scanned. All of a sudden, it's time to pay $168 or whatever our bill is.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the manager comes up and scans our card and says, a generous person has decided to pay for your groceries today.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, whoa. And apparently some person, I'm guessing, gave a credit card to the fine folks at Farmers North and said, hey, buy some groceries for some people today. And I don't know what they spent, but they so me and several, I don't know how many other people, got free groceries yesterday from some fine good Samaritan here, assuming lives here, but I don't know. I don't know a thing about this person. So all I know is whoever this person is, thank you. I was one of the recipients. Certainly I could have paid for my groceries, but it was very nice that someone was nice enough to do that, and it made my day yesterday. So
that's awesome.
I was like, wow, that's really cool. Now, I'm guessing the lady chose us because she saw a kid hug my wife and said, these people probably aren't creepy. Maybe we should give them some groceries.
These people are creepy.
I'm assuming that's how it happened. That's why I told you the story.
That kid is loaded.
About the kid, because I'm thinking that kid.
The kid's well invested.
Yeah, exactly. So I told my wife, I said, I think next Friday or the next weekend we got to go grocery. Announce to your kids Friday what grocery store we'll be at, and maybe you can
We're
come.
We're gonna go to Albertsons.
Set them to hug us.
1 second.
See if we can score some more free food.
Nice. Heck yeah. See, you went the other way with that. I thought you were going to say next Friday, I'm going to make sure to pay for some other people. Like I was thinking, oh, cool, Samaritan. You're like, no, we're just going to announce where we're going to shop from now on.
That's right. So we get kids to hug us for other random acts of free stuff. No, all kidding.
Let me tell you why this would never happen to me. Because the whole experience you just described at Farmers, I was the happiest human being on the face of the planet when Farmers North introduced self-checkouts.
Yeah.
Because I make weird purchases together, and I don't want to be judged for my purchases. That's why I go through self-checkout, because there's no judgment there. You just scan your items and walk out. Yes, I'm buying a 12-pack of ramen and a 12-pack of soda. Don't you dare judge me.
I thought it was going to be something like...
No, that's Walmart. Yeah. They've had the self-checkout for years. You can get real weird at Walmart. Yeah. You can buy a 12-foot length of rope, right? Like a random kid's toy, and then like a bottle of lotion, and then just take that through the self-checkout. Nobody's going to wonder. Really, though, I did. You
do that at Farmers, too, because they've got an aisle that's got some handy stuff, and you'd be like, I got some charcoal briquettes, some eggnog.
Oh, by the way, this needs to be said.
12 packs of cold medicine.
I won't get into great detail on any kind of things that happen outside of the confines of this building. Just understand, if you're ordering things through a delivery service, the people who are delivering your things, your items, are judging you heavily for what you're purchasing.
I figured. I figured as much. That is the case long before the world of delivery and all that. Whenever you were at a grocery store and you're checking out and then you bump into your neighbor, you're always nosing. It's like, man, that's a lot of Sunkist, or that's a lot of Sunny Delight you got there. What's going on with the Sunny Delight?
One weird guy with like the 12 cases of the soda that nobody drinks.
Yeah. Or the 57 cans of Alpo, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of Alpo.
Your dogs must love you. Yesterday, I delivered 5 of the same exact same play set to one family. Like, it was the same, like, $30 play set. 5 of them to one family.
Well, they had a lot of people.
It was very odd.
And they wanted to match.
Yeah. It's one of those things like, well, if I'm going to make one of my kids happy, I'm going to make them all happy. And I had to buy 5 of everything. It was just very odd.
Actually, it's not the fact that someone bought 5 of the same placemats that disturbs me. The fact that, is that all they got delivered?
Yeah,
5 placemats and nothing else.
5 play sets. It was like a castle, like a tower thing for a kid.
Oh. Okay, I was thinking like dinner placemats.
Like, you remember when you were a kid, you had like the Imaginext play set.
Pads, I was like, that's a weird thing to buy just that and nothing else at Walmart delivery of all places.
It's like a $35 2-story play set thing. They ordered 5 of them.
Well, maybe they got 5 kids and they're tired of thinking what they want for Christmas. Oh, that looks good. Get all the kids that.
That, or they
As a parent, I think you could understand that. Now, they all got the same thing. Now, they won't be complaining about each other's thing.
Yeah, that doesn't always work.
I know, but I understand the logic.
My only thought was she's hosting a YouTube series and she needed 5 of something to test something on.
Maybe. That's getting. I think she just got 5 kids or
that
5
kids
to shop for.
It's just a very odd delivery.
Yeah, because I could totally see that. Because I see things, I'm like, oh, so and so will like that. Let's buy everybody one, and then you just buy them, and then you don't, and Christmas is done. That's my mindset. I'm completely
maybe slightly weirder than that. I got a $10 tip on an express order yesterday for 1 container of protein powder.
Hey, when you got to bulk up, you got to bulk up. When you got to bulk up, you ain't got time to wait. And I get that.
That was a rush order.
Yeah. You know what would have been even funnier? If it was X-Lax or something like that instead.
just get me the big thing of Metamucil quick.
There's a 20 spot for you if you get this to me quick.
Just 1 single box of chocolate laxatives. All right.
I like the taste. Don't judge me.
Get yourself a weekend plan.
Oh, man. Well, the whole point of the story was thank you to our Good Samaritan, whoever was out there paying it forward. Very nice. That was a nice, made my Sunday. So, and only thing that equaled that was the fact that Washington wasn't playing, so I didn't have to worry about them stinking up the joint yesterday. So,
just for the record, I'm going to be at Albertsons on 2nd Street this afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. I'm just throwing that out there.
There you go. He'll be the guy with 8 pounds of coconut water and a thing of rope, sisal rope.
That's right. I didn't even know they sold that at Albertsons. I found it.
And a Dexter Demons t-shirt.
Hey, I like what I like. All right?
That's 3 sizes too small. That's the weird part. Why is it a medium?
Don't judge me. Some things I wear to tamp down the parts of me that I don't want other people to see.
He's spanking it.
You ever worn a medium shirt under a double XL? That was me on Saturday.
That's right. He looks like one of those Pillsbury things ain't half popped. It's like someone popped it but didn't open it yet. You know,
I've often been described as busted biscuit dough.
Oh man! Well, let me give you the rundown. I was trying to be nice and thank some people. It just went down. It just got dark quickly, but that was really cool. Not the Pillsbury part, the Good Samaritan part. Matt Bristol with Bristol Office has been patiently waiting through all of that to join us on the radio here. So Matt will join us in just a bit. Give us our monthly Sage legal advice for the holiday season this year, and then or this time, and then next hour we got some open times. So we're gonna replay an interview on Friday. We had Tamara Schubert with the Chaves County Extension Office, and also we had Susan Dade, the nutritionist. I wrote Tamara Schubert twice on here. I wasn't thinking, but Susan Dade had joined us as well. She's a nutritionist, dietitian. I think she's based out of Artesia General, but she was joining us and talking about some of the programs. They've got their diabetes, pre-diabetes classes and things coming up to the Extension Office. So now's the time to sign up for those things. But we'll play that interview for you here at around 8:15. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, about 9:15, we're getting legal advice in the 7 o'clock hour, home buying advice in the 9 o'clock hour. Elliot Rodriguez with Loan Depot. He's going to join us for his monthly visit, and he always gives Sage legal advice for folks, and let's say legal Sage personal advice when it comes to purchasing a home. And he obviously he's a loan officer, so he wants you to go with him and get a mortgage and things. But he really loves working with first time home buyers and kind of setting them up for success and going saying, okay. And he's one of the few loan officers that will sit down with people that are first time, especially, or anybody. And if you're like, okay, the numbers don't jive right now, but and he'll sit down and work with people and say, look, work with me, do this, in 6 months, you come back, see me, and we're going to put you in a house. But he's really good. And plus we always talk about, buying the right home for you. And now, granted, he's the numbers guy. He's not the guy that's going to help you pick the shutters and I need the bath with the jets and all that. But he's a guy that's going to say, yeah, you could afford this house, but maybe you should buy this house instead because, just because you can afford it doesn't mean, you want to put furniture in the house. You want to, do other things other than live a big empty house. And And you can buy that house, but based on your bills, you're going to be, you got styrofoam coolers and lawn chairs for furniture if that's your case. So he really does like to talk and set people up for success, and obviously talk the do's and don'ts of when you're going through the process of a loan application, and because he's seen it all, obviously with people that get initially approved for a home and then decide to spend $10,000 on furniture for it and wonder why there's a problem with their home loan all of a sudden. So things like that. But anyway, Elliot will join us here about 9:15. Before we do any of that, let's go ahead and take a look at your weather. Good news is we're not getting all the snow they're getting at other parts of the state, but it is going to be windy today. So, and we got that in spades, plenty of that. So here's the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We've got some gusty wind coming up from that low pressure system. Doesn't look like we'll be getting any precipitation from that, but wind kicking up to about 40 miles an hour today. We'll have sunshine and pretty mild, our high in the mid-60s. A few clouds overnight, low 30s and windy, and then a little bit cooler on Tuesday. We'll stay in the low 50s, still gusty and sunny. Sunny on Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 50 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity at 93%. Winds says already out of the south at 17, gusting to 23. Although, well, maybe the trees in the distance are whipping around, but my weed tree not so much. So I don't know if that's quite that bad yet. But wind is coming. We got some patchy fog before 9 a.m. Otherwise, partly cloudy today. Gradually clearing to sunny. High of 65 today. All that's the good news. The rest, not so much. Windy with south winds 5 to 15 this morning. Picking up 20 to 30, gusting as high as 40 by later this afternoon. Tonight, partly cloudy with an overnight low of 31. Winds will remain breezy out of the west, 15 to 25 miles per hour. For you Tuesday, windy and cooler. Sunny, high of 51. Winds will remain blowing out of the west, 10 to 20 miles per hour early, later increasing 20 to 30, gusting as high as 40 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, mostly clear with an overnight low of 27, west winds 15 to 20. Looking at the rest of the week, sunny on Wednesday with a high of 53. Winds will remain breezy out of the northwest, 15 to 20, gusting as high as 30 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny and 52, sunny and 46 on Friday. And then glancing at the weekend, 40s for the weekend as well. Mostly cloudy Saturday, 43 for a high. Sunny on Sunday, 48 a high there. So enjoy your 65, because it will get cooler as the week progresses here. All right. It is 22 minutes after 7. Let's go ahead and get you into your Roswell Livestock Report with Smiley Wooten. Quick break, and then Matt Bristol with Bristol Law Office on the other side. We'll be back here in about 3.5 minutes. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Good morning, this is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. A good December run with a nice selection of all classes of cattle, especially high-quality native calves and light yearlings. We expect to sell 1,550 head. Break it down like this: 75 to 100 weighing cows and bulls, 75 to 100 pairs of bred cows, 1,450 calves and yearlings. Today's sale will include 15 bred cows, excellent quality, mostly black white face Angus crosses, second, third trimester bred to black and red Angus bulls. These cows 6 to 9 years old. 83 calves, Diamond Tail Cattle Company, Quemada, New Mexico. Excellent quality black white face, red white face English crossbred calves. Cattle weighed 30 days. One round of shots, 550 pounds. 36 steer calves, Mr. Steve Oldfield here west of Roswell. Excellent quality black Angus cross calves, Bova Shield Gold 7-way at Brandon, 650 pounds. 74 calves, Tom Humperville's, Glenwood, New Mexico. Excellent quality 90% black white face Angus cross calves, shots at Brandon, 550 pounds. 96 calves, Nielsen Ranch, St. John's, Arizona. Excellent quality 90% black white face Angus cross calves, cattle weighed 30 days, Bova Shield Gold 7-way, 550 pounds. Also about 20 yearlings on these cattle, 750 pounds. 56 calves, R&R Cattle Company, St. John's, Arizona. Excellent quality black white face Angus cross calves, cattle weighed 45 days, Bova Shield Gold 7-way, 575 pounds. 40 calves. Mark Gaynor, McDonald, New Mexico. Ex-quality black white face Angus cross calves. Cattle weaned 75 days. 2 rounds of shots. 500, 650 pounds, and 87 calves, the Easton Ranch, Socorro County. Ex-quality black white face, red white face English cross calves, shots at Brandon, 500, 600 pounds. Sale time this morning, 9 o'clock. Sell pairs bred cows about 9:30. Be selling calves and yearlings about 10 to 10:30. Short on cows today, so don't be late. We expect to sell 1,550 head today. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing, and I know you've heard me say that you can trust Trustmark, but I want you to know what that looks like in real life. A few years ago, we installed a beautiful new roof for an older woman who was recently widowed. She was an artist, and colors were really important to her. So when she said she didn't like the color of a brand new roof, we took that seriously. She had picked the color and signed off on it, but I just kept thinking, if she's going to walk into her house every day and be disappointed, then we're just going to redo it. So we did. We ripped that beautiful new roof off and replaced it with a slightly different color, and she was thrilled. Yes, it cost us quite a bit of money to make her happy, but I want you to know you can trust Trustmark to make it exactly right every time. If you have any roofing needs, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Here to help you breathe easy. That's what you can expect from Artesia General Hospital's cardiopulmonary and respiratory therapy team, both literally and figuratively. From innovative treatments for lung cancer and COVID-19 to management for everyday breathing problems like asthma and bronchitis, our care for acute and chronic conditions is unmatched in southeast New Mexico, and the compassion of our caregivers offers peace of mind with each visit. Get the help you need for chronic respiratory conditions. Call 575-748-3333 or visit artesiageneral.com/respiratory.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. There are 293 ways to make change for $1. Try all 293 on the guy who keeps borrowing money from you. Here's Mike Winters.
It is a fun and creative way to hit that person up every time they, it's like borrow the $5, you pay them back in, pennies or something like that, or loan it to them in pennies, however, it's a fun personal game. Anyway, good morning. It is 27 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from Bristol Law Office up on the 4th floor here of the J.P. White Building, Matt Bristol back with us. Good morning.
Morning, Mike. How are you doing?
Doing great. How's the holiday season going for you and your family?
So far, so good. Just got back from Albuquerque visiting the family. And have you done all your shopping? Are you ready?
No. I've done some shopping, which is good for me. But have I done all shopping? No, I'm not done yet. So, but to be started is a step in the right direction for me, because I'm usually that person that's, the 20-something, oh yeah, I should need to get this gift and this gift, and that's me usually. So
get that prime delivery going on.
I'm that one. I'm the guy who last minute is your friend because I'm too procrastinating on this thing.
Well, my wife and I have gotten to the point where we buy what we want and then let the other one give it to us.
That's a good idea. That way you're never disappointed. You know what you get, and yeah.
Well, we got all sorts of stuff, so we don't need more stuff.
And I get that, because my wife and I are the same way. It's like, I was like, and we usually end up picking something, a together thing, a house thing, and say, let's just get that and call it good,
Oh, yeah.
Like a TV or whatever it is,
So you hang around for the holidays, or?
I'll be in New Mexico, going up Albuquerque, and Tim's family lives up there, so we'll spend the holiday week time there for the, spending time with family and doing all that stuff.
Maybe she'll run across another student up there.
Yes, maybe get some more, score some more. Let's get.
She'd have bought the steaks.
Right? I can start shopping it. And I almost made that joke in the store. It's like, I got to go back and get some steaks. Yeah. Hold on a second. But I didn't. I was like, no, just be thankful and don't be a jerk.
Yeah. Oh, Kim, we forgot the booze.
I was like, I forgot to grab the big old thing of steaks and brisket. Hold on.
I left the other basket behind.
Yeah. Wait a minute, where was this? I saw lobsters in a tank. We've got to get some of those. Yeah. No, we didn't do that. So, but for folks that are not familiar, Matt joins us once a month and comes by and gives us sage legal advice. And usually a lot of it's because of the type of law that Matt practices. Generally, you're dealing a lot with family or financial and planning and that side. I think is even though Matt is not a financial planner by trade, many people, because of poor financial planning, end up in his office needing legal representation. So
one way or the other, yeah.
So a lot of times he gives advice to avoid having to see a guy like Matt and require legal representation.
Yes, we see what goes wrong. We learn how to avoid it, and so that's one of the counseling things we do with people is you want to avoid this situation by doing X.
Absolutely.
So in this time of year, when families together, this is actually a good time to set the kids down and kind of tell them what the estate plan is.
Sure. This is something, and we've talked a little bit about this usually around this time in the year in the past, and it's a good time to remind people because, like you said, the holidays are a time when families in town, they're getting together, and let's face it, the holidays are always, remember when you were a kid and you used to do this, or, it's a time of reminiscing and things. Yeah. Now, I get it. Talking about your death plans is not exactly warming the cockles of your heart type conversations here. But it is convenient that families usually in town, usually they're at mom and dad's or wherever, and so it's a good time to have the conversation about what happens if.
Well, when, because the doors say nobody's getting out alive.
This is true. Yeah, we're all dying at some point. Yeah. It's just a matter of, hopefully it's not for a long time, but we don't get to control that sometimes.
Well, and it's not meant to be a downer, but since everybody's together, it's good for everybody to hear the story all at the same time. Sure. So later on, some kid doesn't say, well, that's not what Dad told me. Mm-hmm. We want to avoid that kind of thing. So when everybody's all together, just, okay, it's family business for the next, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Have a little corporate board meeting and say these are the estate plans and this is how stuff's getting divided and don't want to hear any complaining.
Yeah. Well, and let's face it, it's always an emotional time when a family member is lost. Mm-hmm. And so emotions are going to be high.
Oh, yeah.
Possibly irrational. And let's face
it. Typically, yeah.
Without a plan in place or without someone or some people knowing what the plan of action is afterwards here makes it 10 times worse.
It is because, you've just lost a parent and nobody knows what happens next. I mean, really? That's a heck of a disservice to your kids of, well, what's going to happen and what do we do next?
Sure.
And who's going to get the house? And what do you do with the stuff in it? And I always wanted Dad's shotgun. I wonder if I'm going to get it. And so now your kids are in turmoil because they don't know what's coming. That's what's good to set them down in advance and say, this is how I'm divvying stuff up.
Absolutely.
And if it's going to be uneven, then you need to tell everybody why and not give them the big surprise afterwards.
Sure. And if you've set up your estate planning, so maybe you're like, well, okay, my kids, I don't want them to have to go and, micromanage every little thing. And I know a lot of people, it's like, look, I have a financial person that has implicit instructions on what to do. When I pass, this is the person you talk to, and that's, whatever the plan is, but set up that plan and have your family fully invested in said plan so they know what to do when that event comes that you're no longer with us to kind of...
Well, especially second marriage. And those are really tough because, say it's the second marriage, you've been married 25 years or so, and so now your spouse is wondering, are they going to be taken care of when you pass away? Or is everything going to go to the kids and now your surviving spouse is on the street?
Yeah. The more complex, the more prepared you need to be. If you've dealt with multiple marriages and multiple spouses and multiple sets of kids, then you've got to just to keep the peace. But even if it's one marriage, one family, the thing, and it's relatively non-combative or everyone pretty much is on the same page, why dump all of that on the family? Have it all arranged so when you die, it's a simple matter of, okay, open this up. It's got everything you need here to who goes what and where. This is my executor, and whoever that executor is, tell them exactly what you want. That way, you can focus on the real part, the grieving, the memories, and the rest of it's just a matter of dotting I's and crossing T's and executing it.
And speaking of that, while the kids are in town, where do you want that stuff that you just mentioned, the instructions, and where's everything located, is you take the kids, walk them down to the bank, get a safe deposit box, get the kids on the box, everybody's a signer, and that's where you put all that stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Great
idea.
I haven't seen a bank burn down in a long time.
Yeah.
And I've had people tell me, well, I've got this safe in the house. And it's like, well, it might be heat proof, but only for a certain amount of heat for a certain amount of time.
Sure.
And after that, everything inside is going to bake like a cookie.
It's not a bad idea, but if it's not the be-all, end-all, you're much safer off-site, in a safety deposit box. And, or maybe, what about in the modern internet world? Is it okay to put backups in the cloud somewhere? I mean, if they're not original documents, but at least something in a cloud-based where it can be accessed in theory anywhere.
Oh, sure. And who have you shared your password with?
Yeah, and I know that's the thing. I know it's a dangerous thing, but is that, assuming it's a secured thing, is that a...
But how are the kids going to access it if they don't know the password?
You'd have to inform them at some point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's on the computer. Okay, so if there's a house fire and the computer just melts, all that's gone. And the password's gone. And the worst case scenario is there's a fire. And so now it's Mike and Matt are looking at each other, and Mom and Dad's house just burned to the ground. It's like, hey, Mike, who did Mom and Dad have the car insurance with? We need to make a claim.
Right.
And Mike says, oh, I don't know. Don't you know? No, I don't know. Well, who did they have the house insurance with? Oh, geez, I don't know. And so now the kids, there's nothing. There's no paper trail. There's no nothing.
Gotcha.
So that's the kind of stuff that should be in a safe deposit box.
Gotcha.
And does it need to be a 3-ring binder with a table of contents and tabs? No. You get an envelope. So say you pay with a check, okay? And so there's an envelope, and the return address says Farmers Insurance. Right, so you write car on the front of the envelope, toss it in the safe deposit box, and the kids are going to figure the rest out.
Gotcha. Or the legal representative that they've hired to help them do that.
Or somebody will. Well, if you pay online and you just print out the receipt that says Geico and you write house or whatever, somebody's going to figure the rest of that out. And then so it doesn't have to be real organized.
Gotcha.
It doesn't have to be a complicated
But enough
thing.
to give them a good
breadcrumbs
idea of what everything is and laid out. Now, obviously, some are more thorough and want to have in-depth conversation. I mean, you do that with your family how you see fit. That's up to you. But what Matt is saying is have the plan, and generally because the holidays are a time when we're all together.
Right.
Let's use this as that time to spend, like he said, 15 minutes out of the weekend to sit down and say at least so. I mean, yeah, you don't have to lay out every single plan in intricate detail, but make sure everybody's on the same page. Whatever it is, it's like, even if maybe you don't trust your family to know all the details, they're going. So you just say, look, when I die, here's this. Go see my financial so and so. It's right here. They can, but make sure everyone knows what to do, because death's sudden. I mean, sure, we all want, we all dream of the life, when we die in our sleep and, after saying goodbye to everybody and all, but life doesn't work that way. You could be hit by a bus 10 minutes from now and it's all over.
Yeah.
And what happens next? And could you honestly say right now, if you got hit by a bus, would the rest of the family know what to do? And if you can honestly say, yeah, then you're good, then step on out. But I'm kidding, of course. But but if you don't, maybe it's like, all right, maybe I need to sit down this Christmas and have that conversation.
Have the conversation.
If you think they know what to do, then you don't. Then you need to have a conversation.
Well, the best
because you need to know that they know what to do.
The best way for everybody to be on the same page is you tell them what the page is, and you drill in their heads every single year. This is the plan. This is the plan. This is the plan, and you put them on the same page. And then you're talking about the financial guy. Okay? Okay. So you don't have to tell the kids, this is how much I have. That's not the point. You don't have to tell them, this is my 401k balance.
They don't need to know all of the items per se.
Just tell them, where is your financial guy? Where is the 401k?
Sure.
So you can just take a statement, take a bank statement, 401k statement, broker statement, throw it in the safe deposit box. Okay, that stuff is good for years.
Sure.
And even if you change the brokerage guys, there's a paper trail as to where that money went.
Sure. They have to kind of keep tabs on some of that
there's
stuff.
a paper trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it will definitely be the clue if you have to play a little Sherlock Holmes on finding some of that stuff. But and obviously, if you do get a new agent or broker, you update that information in said file or safety deposit box, wherever you're keeping your important documents and stuff here. But
yeah.
The whole point that Matt's saying here is have a plan and tell your plan and share it. Whatever is that plan, however you deem it best for your family, that's entirely up to you and how you deal with it. But all Matt's saying is put everybody in the loop. And the Christmas time, the Christmas season's usually a good time because everybody's here. Now, I wouldn't be, all right, presents open, let's come to the office, before breakfast here and just knock it. No, don't do that. But, at some point in the evening when everything's done and you got the kids off to the side and say, hey, Mom and Dad want to show you, where we keep the will, we keep all this. And,
maybe when the grandkids are asleep.
Yeah.
Say, okay, we're going to have a family meeting for 20 minutes and just share the plan and tell them where all the stuff is. And tomorrow we're going to go to the bank, get the safe deposit box kind of thing.
Now, the next conversation is if you don't have this file or said room to show them any of this stuff, you should get these things. Especially if you have adult kids. If you're waiting at this point, you're really behind the 8 ball. But the moment, the moment you get married, you should talk about this. But the moment you have a kid, you're already late if you're not, because the moment you're bringing life into this earth that you're responsible for, you need to have a plan right away because at any given moment, you could be out of the picture there. You just, God forbid you're not, but it's a possibility. And as a parent, that's one of those top priorities is making sure what happens if you're gone to that child.
Absolutely. Have a will that says who's going to raise that kid if something happens to you. Absolutely. Your life insurance papers should go in the safe deposit box. There's actually used to be a central registry somewhere where everybody with life insurance was on a list.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Regardless of who it was with. So that if somebody passed away, you could find out did they have life insurance or not.
I wonder how many policies, I'm sure there's a lot that people bought little policies and and kind of got long lost, and then oh wait a minute, somewhere hidden there's a policy where there's 5-10 grand just waiting for you because people forgot about it. Sometimes that's the case, but that's why you have the paperwork and the thing to avoid that kind of stuff.
So. Yeah, I got a buddy, and he was telling me he and his wife are pretty much life insurance rich, and which is fine. And but my comment was, how does that do you any good?
Sure.
So I just use my premiums to invest, and instead of buying life insurance, I invest, and that way I have the money now to enjoy and take care of.
Sure, and then you can leave it however you see fit afterwards, instead of in the form of a insurance policy or whatever.
So I can still leave something behind, but in the meantime, if I need it, just.
But I know, like throughout the course of life, you enter a little job or something. It's like, hey, we'll take another $5 out of your paycheck and we'll give you this policy. You're like, hey, I'll sign up for that. Why not? And then you forget about it after you retire and everything. It's like, no, you got a little policy there with 10-15 grand sitting in it.
Tax returns are a good thing to rotate in and out of the safe deposit box. Tax returns have a lot of information. So you could look at Kim's W-2, for example, on the tax return, and you can tell she's contributing to retirement. It's on the W-2.
Sure, it's all right there.
If you know where to look. I think it's the difference between box 1 and 2. So you know to call the employer. Hey, look, there's a retirement plan. There's a 401. Then you can ask, is there any life insurance associated with that? So also, there's 1099s that come in from miscellaneous income, from brokerage accounts.
Side jobs, whatever.
Side jobs, interest from, they got a savings account somewhere.
Yeah, some windfall somewhere, whatever,
It's in a different bank the kids don't know about. And so it's got some good information, the tax returns. And it's got if you got an accountant, it's got their name on it.
And you're supposed to, if I remember right, you're supposed to keep your last 7 anyway. I mean, that's part of, I don't know how many people do that, but
if there's a fire,
you're supposed to hold on to your last 7 tax returns anyway. But yeah, keep a copy there in your safety deposit box there with your other important. That way, there's a good, like you said, Sherlock Holmes lead list for them to track down almost anything, because and you will also find that'll probably be your best friend along with a death certificate. And this is something, if you've never dealt with someone dying and having to do all the stuff for them, the death certificate, you're going to get tired of here, because everybody and their uncle is going to want a copy, and because that's the one piece of proof that your relative is no longer here, and kind of gives you the path to access their accounts and things. Even if you have a power of attorney, it's like, do you have a death certificate? No, well then I'm not talking.
Yeah, so that's why the kids are on the safe deposit box, because everybody's a joint tenant with right of survivorship. So if mom and dad both die, the kids can still get in the box. They're joint owners. The original wills should be in there, powers of attorney, birth certificates, car titles. Any family heirlooms should be in the safe deposit box, just so they don't burn up, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Anything that's of value that either tells people where to find your value or is a direct link to said value, like you said, a deed or something like that. But yeah, the financial, that's the stuff you keep in there, and that way you have it there. Now, and this is something too, is you don't have to like constantly update it, but anytime there's a major change in your life, you also, just like, if you have a new child or you get a big asset, you update your will. This is same kind of thing. You want to go in there and update this, the in case of box too.
Oh yeah.
Because if you have this box, but you haven't updated in 20 years and a lot's happened in 20 years, that's not going to be very helpful to your family when they're trying to resolve your accounts and things like that.
And that's a good point. Most of the banks now will tell you their records don't go back more than 7 years. Now they're fibbing, but that's what they'll tell you.
Sure.
So if you got a bank statement in the box that's 5 years old, mom and dad passed, the kids pull it out, and the bank says, "Oh, we moved the account." Well, there's going to be a paper trail where they move that account, as long as the statement's not more than 7 years old.
Yeah.
So
hey, I guess it frees them up from obligation if they make a blanket statement saying, "We're responsible for 7, but after this, we're not taking responsibility anymore."
Well, it's just too much paperwork.
Sure. Well, and that makes sense, because just think about how much paperwork you yourself have acquired over your lifetime. Take that times
however many customers
100,000. That's what their deal is. So that's what we're talking about.
So what I did with my wife is I got a copy of all the statements. Got the business statements, and then we have some joint bank accounts and separate bank accounts. And so what I did was I got a copy of all the statements and the retirement statements and all that kind of deeds and all that kind of stuff. And I said, okay. And so I had kind of an outline anyway, table of contents. And I said, I want you to rewrite all this in your handwriting. And I want you to tab everything. And she did. It took about, 30 minutes. But by her doing it with her own little hand, now she knows where everything is.
She's familiar.
Yep.
She's looked at it long enough where she's at least familiar with it and comfortable with it. And, if she has to do something with it on her own, she at least has a place to go with it.
She has a place to go.
Yeah.
It was her handwriting. Oh, yeah, I remember writing this.
Sure.
Oh, tab 4, that's the, mineral deeds.
Sure.
Or tab 6 is the, the condo in Hawaii or whatever you got.
Sure.
But too many spouses, they don't share that information. And then when one passes, the surviving spouse is like, I don't know anything.
And I get sometimes the spouse doesn't want to know, and they kind of play, it's fine. Just don't let that go down. They're like, look, no. I'm not going to be here forever, and God forbid if I'm not here and this happens, you need to know this, or you need to know what to do next. And so please don't sleep on this. Don't just brush it off. Take it seriously. Take it to account, because someday you're going to need this information.
In fact, attorneys now are required to have a plan that if they are deceased or disabled, how do you shut the business down?
That makes sense, because there's a lot of legal open ends there when you die, depending, especially attorney-client privilege, and that there's things that are kind of going with you to the grave, so to speak. And so there has to be a plan if that's not acceptable. Is someone else taking over the practice, whom it is? Does that transfer to them and everything that we talk about? And how does all that work?
Oh, our upcoming court dates.
Sure.
And who's going to notify the clients? And, oh my gosh, payroll's around the corner.
I imagine it happens more often than people think because lawyers die just like everybody else and life happens. And
they do. And attorneys like anybody else, they enjoy work. A lot of them enjoy working, and so they work right up until they die at the office.
Now, granted, if they work at a firm where there's multiple partners and
things, that's easy.
Yeah, and it just shifts over to one of the other partners.
Right.
But someone like yourself, that's your own practice, your own business, there's probably a lot more things in place you have to set up.
Yep.
Because in on paper at least, or at least in public, there's no signs of a plan of progression to somebody else. It's like, Matt's got a kid that's going to take over this place. I don't know, but we got to figure that out. And so there's got to be something in place.
So I sat down with the staff.
Yeah.
So that, the children, if you will. So I sat down with the staff and I said, okay, what if I die tomorrow? What's the priority? What's the first thing we do? What's the second thing we need to do? And wrote it all down. Where the safe deposit boxes, that kind of stuff. And then after we got it all done, then I gave everybody a copy so that everybody knows the plan.
Yeah. And they're all thinking, well, we won't need this, and they'll put it in that back drawer. And then one day they're going to have to bring it out. Matt's going to be called in sick. And
well, instead of where does Matt keep his
actually
plan,
the idea thing will be is Matt's going, I'm retiring. I'm going to go move to this island with a palm tree and a coconut. Yeah, this guy or this person's taking over, and there you go.
That's plan A. Yeah.
That's plan A. Yeah, that's plan A. So, but the whole point of this whole conversation here is the Christmas holidays right around the corner. Please carve out some time over this next couple of weeks here to sit down with the family that needs to be here in this conversation, and come up and show them the plan. And if you don't have a plan, then use this as a time to start getting the plan together, because we're talking about sharing the plan, but obviously step one is get the plan before you share the plan. So if you're like, well, I'd love to do that, but I have no idea what to tell my family when this happens because I have no idea where this stuff is either, then maybe you need to.
Ooh, that's a clue.
Yeah, then let's get your ducks in a row, and of course, give Matt a call. Anybody else, talk to a lawyer if you don't have a will or that kind of stuff. Definitely talk to your financial planning people. When it comes to like your house and whatever other assets you may have out there, and let's talk about a plan for what to do with all this stuff in the event that you are no longer with us. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's so vital, and I don't care, how many kids or family members you have or lack thereof. It doesn't. That's not the matter. If you have stuff and when you die, there's a place you want it to go, then you need to make sure that you set that up so people know that. And that's what it's about.
If you're not all together Christmas, then maybe on New Year's or Memorial Day, whenever the family's together. Sure. But it should be pretty much an annual event of reminding everybody.
Well, even if you have to do a FaceTime video or like back in COVID days where everyone sits around a computer screen and does it, so be it. But
absolutely,
you need to have that conversation at some point. We like to use, it's kind of like smoke alarms. When they say when the clocks change the batteries, it's just a good thing to remind people. Well, same kind of thing. The holidays are here, families gathering. Don't forget, let's spend a few minutes to make sure the family's on board on what to do in the event of we losing a family member and what we need to do next and things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
the old motto, be prepared.
Yeah, exactly. Those scouts got a good, if they live that motto, they never have it. I'm not saying they have problems, but they always got a solution for them, or at least a plan of attack for them anyway. So, but definitely, because the last thing you want to do is have these conversations in a hospital room while someone's sitting on life support and you're all sitting around a bed. That's not the time to have these conversations.
No, that's
the time to spend those final minutes with family and grieving and doing the things that you want to be doing with your family, not talking about who has a will and where is it and where do we find it.
Yep.
You can now if it's last minute plans like make sure mom gets her salad every day, then that's a good time for that conversation, because you see that a lot too, where especially if it's a spouse and you're like, all right, I'm going to be leaving your mother. I'm used to doing this for mom. Make sure you keep that tradition going and things like that.
Yeah.
Spend that time on that and not worrying about, how do I pay the house payment after you're gone?
Well, yeah. So there's, people are very emotional when they've lost a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing you want is people assuming Billy Bob got more than I did, so now I'm upset.
Yeah.
But if you've been told to plan over and over and over.
And you don't want to be the one that surprises your family either. Like if you've been doing some kind of shady dealings with things over the years and then I die and then you find out, oh man, he's been skimping on this for you. I mean, that's a hard time to find that out, and sometimes think you can't fix it. So get your ducks in a row. For the sake of your family, get your ducks in a row.
Absolutely.
To help them out. If not for nothing else, to ease that transition for when you were gone. Because we're all going to go through it. We don't know when, but we're all going to experience it. Let's make it as easy as possible for the people we love.
Well, and I've had people tell me, well, my kids don't want to talk about it. They won't talk about it.
I understand
and
that.
I say, well, okay, well, talk
Suck
about
it up,
anyway.
Buttercup. Yeah. It's just, there's a lot of things I don't want to do, but this is called life and being an adult, and there are certain moments you don't have a choice. You've got to do them, or you're going to be dealing with problems. And so,
absolutely.
So I'm sorry that it's a tough conversation. I really am. I don't want to have tougher conversations, but it's a lot tougher if you don't have that conversation and the inevitable happens. I would much rather deal with an uncomfortable conversation for 15 minutes and have a plan than you pass away and I'm like scratching my head wondering what to do next and going crazy trying to figure that one out.
I had a client just last week, and husband passed away a few months ago, and I said, well, who pays the monthly bills? So, well, I used to, but I couldn't handle it, so husband took it over, some time ago. So she wasn't familiar with what bills were paid, what time of the month.
Mm-hmm.
There were some retirement decisions that had to be made about how to take retirement in what way. They had never had that conversation. She wasn't familiar with that he had 2 or 3 different kinds of retirement.
Oh, man. And you're really doing your loved ones a disservice by not doing that. You're setting them up for failure.
And if you're the spouse says, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to talk about it, well, too bad. You got to.
Yeah, you're going to have to, If they're that adamant, then fine. Write it all down and hide it, or put it somewhere they'll see it. When you're dying, maybe they'll read it afterwards. If they're that,
stick it on the refrigerator.
Yeah, do something. Tattoo it on your forehead. I don't care. We're out of time here, but if you have any questions about anything we just talked about here, if you need legal representation, you need a will set up, if you're dealing with family law, any of these types of issues. Matt Bristol Law Office can help you with all of that. Maybe it's just a conversation before we get to a courtroom.
So we got a new website.
Yes.
BristolLawOffice.net.
Good deal. Oh, switched up .net now. Go to BristolLawOffice.net.
Yep.
There you can schedule an appointment, learn all about Matt's practice and all the services and things that they offer and cover there. And, of course, if you're, and that's the great thing. If you're, Matt will have a conversation with you, and then he'll determine, you know what? This conversation's all we need. Or, no, we need to go here. Either way, Matt's going to set you straight and get you through that. And
absolutely.
So, and not put you through anything you don't need to do, but make sure everything that needs to get done gets done.
Absolutely.
Good deal. You want to give out the phone number real quick, too, if people want to call and leave a message if they have questions?
That'd be great. We're at 625-5284.
Very good. And, of course, the office located here downtown in the J.P. White building on the 4th floor.
Beautiful J.P. White building.
That's right. 3rd and Main downtown.
That's us.
Good deal. Well, Matt.
Thank you, Mike.
As always, appreciate the visit.
Enjoyed it.
We'll let you get to your caseload and everything else you got sitting on your office upstairs
all
waiting for you there.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you and yours, and we'll see you here in 2023.
Next year, yeah.
That's right, with a whole new set of problems.
Second Monday of the month.
That's right. We'll see you then, 7:15.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you.
It is 7:58. Quick break before we get you in the news. Don't go away.
Sound the alarm. Backdraft Barbecue is ready to set your taste buds on fire with the best slow smoke barbecue around, by the plate or by the pound. Plus truly one-of-a-kind creations like brisket nachos or the 5-alarm bowl, or a savory Sammy like the hook and ladder, or take on the 1098 challenge seen on Man vs. Food with over 4 pounds of everything Backdraft makes. Will you make the Wall of Fame or the Wall of Shame like Casey Webb of Man vs. Food? Open Tuesday through Saturday 11 to 8 and Sundays 11 to 5 in Roswell at 301 Railroad Avenue. Backdraft Barbecue, alarmingly delicious.
Central Valley Electric is continually learning and advancing technology that improves electric service, reliability, and safety, and in turn enhancing the quality of life for members that we serve in our local communities. CVE offers an account management program called Smart Hub that allows members to track their usage, set up convenient pay methods, and the ability to manage their energy use with smart technologies. A secure system such as Smart Hub is an easy tool to use. To sign up, visit cvecoop.org and click Smart Hub to get started.
The Grinch stole Christmas and brought it all to Roswell Honda, and it's your chance to score big. Now through December 17th, stop in, get registered to win, and find a sleigh full of savings, like a 2019 Toyota Corolla for just $299 a month, or a 2016 Hyundai Elantra for just $179 a month. Then join us on December 17th from 10 to 1 for free food and the chance to play the punch game and win designer purses, an Amazon Echo, AirPods, a Keurig, an air fryer, and so much more. Even a 70-inch TV or an Xbox Series S. Slide in to win at Roswell Honda. 2177 West 2nd.
Man
Here's a
suspected
Mornings
of
with
building
Mike
the bomb
Winters
that
fun
brought
fact.
down the plane
The U.S.
is in
Treasury.
American custody. The airliner flying from London to New York exploded on December 21st, 1988. 270 people died. The new mayor of Los Angeles names Job 1 for her administration.
I will start my first day as mayor at the city's emergency operations centers, where my first act as mayor will be to declare a state of emergency on homelessness. A state of emergency on homelessness.
L.A. Mayor Karen Bass, former congresswoman and state assembly speaker. Winter has yet to officially arrive, but the snow machine has already kicked into high gear across parts of the west, dumping huge amounts of snow in Northern California, now moving to the east. It's a case of Russians torturing Russians in Ukraine.
The father of one Russian officer told us that after refusing to fight, his son was put under guard in Russian-occupied Ukraine. Whilst in detention, armed men hit the son's head repeatedly with a pistol and threatened to shoot him if he didn't return to the front line. Eventually, the father managed to secure his release. In a separate case, a Russian lieutenant was put in a basement after refusing to carry out orders to advance. His mother told us he hasn't been seen for 5 months.
That's a BBC's Steve Rosenberg. As the Federal Reserve holds its final policy meeting of the year on Wall Street, stocks are higher. The Dow's up 157 points, the Nasdaq ahead 33. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon 2 factors: taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1569.
Ukraine's government has sanctioned 7 senior Orthodox Church clerics considered Russian sympathizers. Their assets have been seized, and they are subject to further punishment, including a possible travel ban.
Ukraine's Orthodox Church severed ties with the Russian Orthodox Church after the invasion in February. But some of the church's top clergy have been accused of still covertly supporting Moscow. Security services have carried out raids in churches and monasteries in recent weeks amid investigations of possible anti-Ukrainian activities by some members. The church, however, says it has always acted within the framework of Ukrainian law. President Zelensky said everything was being done to make sure Moscow could not harm Ukrainian society.
The BBC's Hugo Bashega. Japanese court rejecting a damages suit filed by a group of children of Nagasaki atomic bombing survivors seeking eligibility for government support for medical expenses. Townhall.com. Shoppers and workers find themselves at odds over post-pandemic expectations.
More than 2.5 years into the pandemic, many businesses have had to curb their hours of operations or services as they continue to grapple with labor shortages. A National Restaurant Association survey found 60% of restaurants reduced hours of operations on the days they were open, while 38% closed on the days they would normally be open compared to right before the pandemic. The disconnect is between customers who want to go out as they did pre-pandemic and employees who no longer want to work long hours. Rhonda Rockster reporting.
Iran says it has executed a second prisoner detained amid the nationwide demonstrations challenging the country's theocracy. An Iranian news agency says the man who was hanged had been convicted in the fatal stabbings of 2 security officers that happened last month, and also the wounding of 4 other members of the security apparatus. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The Deuce.
The Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. I have not seen Yellowstone. I did not. Oh, no, I did. I did watch last night's Yellowstone. I take that back.
It was that missable, folks.
Well,
he didn't even remember that he watched it.
Well, no, normally I don't.
He goes, no, well, here's the problem. I drink heavily, so.
Yes. Usually I'm
I black out and watch Yellowstone. It's a
usually about
occurrence.
about 17 Quaaludes in about that point. I'm just kidding. No, because normally we watch something else, but that wasn't on last night, so we end up watching Yellowstone.
Okay.
But I don't watch it at 6. We watch it later because at 6 I'm not ready to watch it yet. I'm like, it's too early for me.
Riveting.
So I record it.
So how was it?
Good, not as good as that week's previous.
You know what's weird is I'm weird. I've never watched even a second of anything Yellowstone or 1898 or whatever it's called. I'm genuinely curious about this new spin-off 1923, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about that. Like, of all of them, that's the one, weirdly, that I'm most curious about.
Are you a fan of Helen Mirren? Is that it?
Not even. It has nothing to do with Dame Helen Mirren or here. It's really just, this is like the part of the story I think I'd be interested in jumping into. Maybe it's because I'm from Oklahoma and the Dust Bowl is such a huge part of like my upbringing in life, and I'm curious if any of that whole Dust Bowl lifestyle rolls into 1920, just out of sheer morbid curiosity.
Gotcha.
It was like the first weird Earth occurrence I ever learned about and was interested in.
And I'm not sure. I'm guessing that it's something along the lines of the Dutton family, or some of them have come back from the World War I in the 20s at this point, and so it's life coming back from war and the family and the land and whoever wants to take it. I know it based on the trailer I've seen 1,000 times there's some kind of neighbor that they've got to deal with. So it sounds like a Hatfield-McCoy scenario that they're setting up.
That's the weird thing. I've never even seen a trailer. Like, I've literally
for the new one?
No, anything. I've never watched
the commercials are
a
ad nauseam.
second of any of it. Like, I had to Google who Beth and Rip were because of a...
Is your phone in the room?
It is.
You'll be getting plenty of information
I know.
about him here pretty soon.
I know. Every single time.
Yellowstone.
Cripple. It's like trying to train a parrot. But no, I've successfully avoided it. And honestly, okay, so I work at a country station, and we have a sweeper, the thing that plays in between the songs.
Sean, about that.
Where it says, we're a little bit of Beth and a whole lot of Rip. And I'm like, what does that even mean? And I had to Google that. And
well, to be honest, Rip's the more sane of the two. Beth's the crazy one.
Well, then we're a little bit crazy and a whole lot of sane.
Rip's tough as nails and don't say much. He's a quiet, silent type.
Which is funny because then we roll into Dan and Shay and Justin Bieber. So yeah, we're real tough boys.
Beth, I would argue, is the tougher of the two. Like, she got a big good fight, not this last episode, but the episode before.
Mm-hmm.
And her and this other woman had a knockdown drag out. She's British, the real life. The actress that plays Beth is British. It's that Hugh Laurie thing all over again.
No,
she's talking like this.
It's not even Hugh Laurie. They're real good. Like, most British people I've ever heard that are actors are really, really good at perfecting the American dialect.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, you're hard pressed to find a good English, like American actor who can nail a British accent.
I would love to go to England and then like watch TV, and then you see someone like Ned Beatty like all over it, and then there's people that realize that Ned Beatty's American, and like he's been doing Ned Beatty shows in Britain, but in a British accent, and people just think he's English, and then you hear Ned Beatty in an interview, and he sounds like Ned Beatty. Why can't that happen?
Well,
and they're like, I didn't know Ned Beatty was not British.
Now, in fairness, I don't know about Ned Beatty, but
I mean, I just picked a random name.
It's funny that there's actually American transplants, like real non-British accent having Americans living over in Britain that are actors, because just like on American shows, how they have that like shoehorned in, African American character or like Asian character, British shows love shoehorning in Americans.
The token American?
The token American.
Okay.
With just like the dumb, the dumb guy with like a bit of a pot belly.
He says just mildly racist things.
Usually sweeps in with the punchline of any scene. Or the foil, so to speak.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I'd be curious to
that'd be funny if there's a George Clooney type that's over there and he's American, but everyone thinks he's British.
Right.
And then he gives an interview and he just talks like that.
He just starts talking like American. He's really good.
I just wish, because like between Yellowstone and like The Walking Dead was another one that was notorious. You're like, because everyone's talking Carl, George, and then they interview him with like, I say, old chap, I do play Carl in there. And you're just like, oh, geez, everybody's British.
More often than not, you're going to find people have. You're gonna okay. So the you ever seen 13 Reasons? You haven't. 13 Reasons Why on Netflix.
I'm familiar with it. I have not watched it.
The lead, like the girl who the lead character in 13 Reasons Why, she's British and she has a thick accent when she's talking in any interviews, but has no hint of it on the show. So my question is, where's that outrage? How come like? You've heard so many stories about like an American gets cast to play like an Asian character in like
she doesn't have the right to play an American.
How dare she? How dare she? Until she has lived in our shoes and knows what it's like here.
Yeah.
How dare she come to our shores and play an American?
There you go.
Where is that outrage? Just saying.
Right.
If we're going to draw a line, where do we draw it?
Yeah. Eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
It's Buck and Sexton. We'll be back after this.
Crust to crust.
I didn't mean to get political on you, but it strikes me as odd.
Yeah.
It's like there's no outrage for British people playing Americans. I can't think of a Netflix show right offhand that doesn't have an American in the show but they are British when they do any interviews. Like Stranger Things, same thing. There's like 3 people on that show that have a thick British accent.
Now I'm curious. Is Cary Elwes British?
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to think if I've heard him
fiercely British.
Okay, I'm trying to think if I've heard him speak in interviews.
That is him.
Okay.
But again, he's played an American. He's perfected the American.
He's played so many to a point. I'm like, is he really British, or he's just good at playing British?
Now, okay, now you've got me questioning my own self.
Yeah, I don't know
this
at this point.
This is what it's come to, man.
Like he's so muddy to me that I would not bet the farm one way or the other whether he's British or not British.
After I'm done with this, I'm going to Google. Make sure Bob Newhart is still with us, just for the record.
Just checking in.
He just got to check in. All right, Cary Elwes. Yeah, he's an English actor.
Okay, he is officially English, full-on English dude.
Yep.
All right. Okay, I was just checking. I mean, he's been so fake.
I know.
Fake American for so long. I wouldn't know if he actually was American. I don't know. So okay, cool. Good to know.
Hard saying.
Yeah.
Hard saying.
So, yeah, I remember the joke line from Men in Tights. Unlike some Robin Hoods, I can speak in an actual British accent. I just didn't know if he's just good at doing British accent.
No, anyway. It's just I don't know if it's like a course in school or like in university, but most British actors are really, really good at nailing that English or American accent.
Maybe they have an acting class, like in
Talking American.
Yeah, American. Talking American. How to sound like American.
Oh, I'm at the wrong class. I'm sorry. I was looking for a place to make the hairs with no, never mind. Something else entirely.
Make a basket.
Talking American. Whoops.
Well, you think each chapter is like New England next week, Texas. You know,
Chowder. Chowder.
Yeah.
Use.
Yeah.
Use. Utes. Utes.
Ewins.
That's fine.
All right, let me give you the rundown for this hour of the show. We'll get you up to date with the weather here in just a bit. Then, shortly thereafter, we're going to replay our interview we had on Friday. Tamara Schubert with the Chaves County Extension Office joined us. Also, Susan Dade, dietitian, health, diabetes educator. Health expert. And but she joined us and talking about their some of the upcoming pre-diabetes classes. Now's the time to sign up, things like that. And so we're going to play that interview in just a few minutes. Later on, we'll get you up to date with news of the local variety, along with your Wall Street Town Hall business update and whatever else we can come up with for this hour of the show.
You actually have to take the pre-diabetes class if you want to take the actual diabetes class. It's a prerequisite.
Well, it's the classes for people that were diagnosed.
Pre-diabetic, yeah.
As pre-diabetic. Sometimes you get diagnosed as you're not full-on diabetic, but the path you're going down, you keep going, you're going to be. So it's kind of an intervention, if you will. So we'll play that interview in just a few minutes.
Indeed.
But first, British or not. Maybe that's the game we need to play. British or not, we get people.
Right.
And, I mean, Hugh Laurie, we all know that one, but maybe some more obscure ones. So.
Foreign or not, yep.
Yeah. All right, it is 17 minutes after 8 o'clock. Time for your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We've got some gusty wind coming up from that low pressure system. Doesn't look like we'll be getting any precipitation from that, but wind kicking up to about 40 miles an hour today. We'll have sunshine and pretty mild, our high in the mid-60s. A few clouds overnight, low 30s and windy, and then a little bit cooler on Tuesday. We'll stay in the low 50s, still gusty and sunny. Sunny on Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. And currently, let me refresh. I didn't. And quite frankly, this weather is stale. All right, that's better. Currently 49 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 97%. Winds are out of the south at 12 miles per hour. Today, going to be windy. Still dealing with a little bit of fog this morning. Still dealing with that for about another hour or so, but partly cloudy for the day, but gradually getting sunny as the day progresses. High of 65 today. That's the good news. Winds will be up. Winds will be out of the southwest early, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Later today, those winds will increase 20 to 30 miles per hour. Could see wind gusts as high as 40 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy with an overnight low of 31 degrees. Winds will remain breezy out of the west, 15 to 25 miles per hour. Tomorrow, your Tuesday, sunny skies, 51 for a high. Winds will remain a-blowing out of the west, 10 to 20 miles per hour early. Increase in 20 to 30, gusting as high as 40 miles per hour tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night, mostly clear with an overnight low of 27 and west winds 15 to 20. Looking at the rest of the week, sunny on Wednesday with a high of 53, breezy, winds out of the northwest 15 to 20, gusting as high as 30 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny skies and a high of 52. Sunny and 46 on Friday, and then cooler for the weekend as well. Cloudy with a high of 43 Saturday, mostly sunny and 48 on Sunday. All right, it is 19 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're going to take a 3-minute commercial break, and then we're going to play our interview with Tamara Schubert and Susan Dade talking about the pre-diabetes classes with the Extension Office. That's up next. Don't go away.
There are 3 key phrases that need to be spoken on a regular basis in a healthy marriage. Hi, this is Pastor Troy and Julie Smotherman for The Joy of Marriage.
You know, for over 20 years, Julie and I have been sharing these 3 key phrases, and here they are. I love you, I'm sorry, and I forgive you.
Ephesians 4:32 says, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ, God forgave you.
You know, it's so easy to expect others to love us, to say I'm sorry, to forgive us. But you know, it's really a gift that we give each other. You know, the Bible teaches us we sow and we reap. Sow into your spouse, I love you, I forgive you, I'm sorry. And then you'll reap a harvest in return. Someone has to start the process. Let that be you today so you can really enjoy your marriage.
If you have any questions or would like further information about the Joy of Marriage Ministry, please go to jomconference.com.
Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward and Son Insurance Agency. Auto and home, life and health, personal and commercial. Bonds too, since 1925. We have the coverage for you. Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward and Son Insurance Agency.
Edge Safety and Services LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has an immediate opening for a safety technician. Position requires a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screen. Edge Safety offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please email resumes to edgecoding@yahoo.com or apply in person at 402 West Main Street inside the Edge Safety and Services facility. Edge Safety and Services LLC is an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keon at Carabelli Dental. Same-day smiles are what we do. My passion is helping patients chew, talk, and live with confidence. That's why I'm one of the few doctors in the U.S. who can create beautiful same-day smiles with the latest digital implant technology. This procedure is life-changing. Just ask Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I've been that voice that you've heard on the radio for most of my life, but I'm also a dad to 2 amazing kids. I've had a million reasons to smile, but in all my old pictures, I was never smiling. Truth is that life of improper care and being dealt a bad hand genetically left me practically with no teeth. It affected everything from the way I ate, the way I talked, and of course how I interacted with people. And that's where Dr. Keon and Carabelli stepped in. They eased my fears. They explained every step of the process in a way that I could understand, and they made me feel almost like I was part of the team. And now, I can't stop smiling. I have so much more confidence, and I love looking in the mirror now. I can't explain how much of a difference Dr. Keon's dental implant process made for me.
Our team can help you find your smile too. Come see us at Carabelli Dental, 575-622-4455.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Due to extreme pressure and weather conditions, it literally rains diamonds on Neptune and Uranus. Stop snickering because I said Uranus. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 20 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Chavez County Extension Office, Susan Dade with us, and then also from Artesia General Hospital, we have dietitian and diabetes educator Susan Dade with us as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing today?
Doing great.
Doing well. How was Thanksgiving? Do we all behave, or at least get back on the wagon after we fell off.
Isn't that the key?
Yeah. We're all falling off probably on Thanksgiving because there's always something that shows up. You're like, I cannot pass that up. And that's okay in moderation. Just like you can have a piece of pumpkin pie, not the whole pie. That's
correct.
The difference.
And then get back on track after.
Absolutely. So probably first, do we want to talk about the prediabetes classes before we kind of talk some of the actual nutritional side of things here? Of course, one thing that for folks, hopefully you're aware of this. If it's not on your radar, then you need to listen up. The Chaves County Extension Office, besides helping kids get into 4-H and helping gardeners and ranchers and stuff with their gardening and ranching stuff. Susan Dade handles all the health education and home ec side of things through the extension office. So when she's not doing 4-H projects with home ec and that kind of stuff, she's doing working on the diabetes cooking classes, the cooking sensation classes, and what we're about to talk this pre-diabetes class that is now getting ready to form up, right?
We do. So we have a pre-diabetic, it's called Prevent T2.
Okay.
It's a class coming up in January, and this is a year-long program. And so it's really geared towards those that are already diagnosed with prediabetes or at risk for diabetes.
Gotcha.
And
so if you went to the doctor and he said, you're not diabetic yet, but you stay on this path, you will be diabetic. So
yeah. So it's a free class available to the community. It's got lots of great incentives for coming, and it covers lots of different topics.
Gotcha. And this is something, maybe we'll bring you in on this one because this is probably a good time to do that. We were mentioning this, just when we talk about pre-diabetes, like you were saying earlier, odds are most people aren't even realize they're pre-diabetic yet. So this is trying to kind of catch you before you hit that point where you're required to take medicines or insulin or something to that effect to correct the diabetes here. So kind of talk about some of the things that, even if you haven't been to a doctor or done some lab work and this doctor said you're in that stage, but talk a little bit about some of the symptoms, some of the things if you're experiencing. Maybe you go talk to your doctor. You should be regularly visiting your doctor anyway. But if you're experiencing some of this, maybe you need to schedule some lab work and let's see what's going on there.
So 85 or more % of the population with prediabetes doesn't even know that they have it. They don't know. So if you start experiencing thirst and going to the bathroom a lot, you're tired, you just, especially after a meal, you're just, and high blood sugars make you fussy, and usually the family members can tell you about that. The other thing is, I just heard a statistic this week that over 80% of the population is overweight or obese. That's one of the risk factors. If you have family members with diabetes, that puts you at risk.
Sure.
So if you're overweight, if you have family members that have...
So there is some family history with diabetes, too. I wasn't sure if that was part of that as well.
Absolutely.
I know diet, especially with type 2, diet and exercise are kind of the key factors on some of that, but I didn't realize that hereditary.
Sitting all day and no exercise, that puts you at risk also. Also, diabetes can skip a generation. You may say, oh, well, my parents didn't have diabetes, but if your grandparents did, I see a lot of kids, especially 9, 10, 12, 15-year-old kids with type 2 whose grandparents had diabetes. Sometimes the parents, but oftentimes it's the grandparents.
So do a little digging in your family history here, and that might explain some of that. But either way, if you're overweight, certainly if you're, like you said, thirst and some of the things we're talking about, talk to your doctor. Say, hey, let's do some lab work. Let's see where I'm at. Maybe you're lucky, and they're like, no, you're good to go. You just drink more water. Or they might say, you know what, you're going down that path the way your diet. Let's look now. And then maybe Tamara can come in and kind of give you the foundation so you can reverse what you're talking about here and start getting to a healthy lifestyle where you're going to a point where you're putting the right things in your body and not denying yourself the pleasures and things that we all enjoy by eating foods and things like that.
Well, and there is a window. if you have prediabetes, there is a window where you can turn things around. If you pass that window and the damage is too far gone, then short of gastric bypass surgery or something drastic, it's hard to get back into the normal range.
Gotcha.
Where you're not, because the organs that are affected, the number one killer of people with diabetes, heart attack and stroke, it affects the eyes, the heart, the kidneys, the nerves in the feet. And if you're a man, things below the waist don't work. So, I mean, that's a real eye-opener for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
So there's many reasons to get this under control before you've passed the point of no return.
Absolutely. And that's like, and even if you say you get diagnosed with full diabetes, by working your diet and exercise, you can mitigate the medications you have to take to where it's little or no meds. And I just
control it with a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, and here's and this is just based on my own family and personal experience. So if I'm off here, please tell me. But generally speaking, once you're in the game of taking the meds and you're on a medicine, it's a constant battle of getting it right. So like you may think you nail it for a while, and then all of a sudden your numbers start getting squirrely, and you're like, well, I'm not doing anything different. Well, we just need to maybe change the medicines. It's not being effective, or whatever. And so to avoid kind of going down that path altogether is if you just stay that way, you can say you get diagnosed with diabetes. It's not a death sentence. If you mitigate it and to a point where you're intaking what you're supposed to do, and again, this is where Tamara comes in on this year-long. They show you ways to do all this stuff to create the things you like, but in ways and options to do it so you can eat the way you like to eat,
right?
But doing it in a way that's not hurting you, it's helping you. And that's,
diabetes is progressive. If you ignore it, it's going to progress.
It's going to kill you eventually. It's whether it gets you from
heart
nerves or heart attack or blind, whatever.
Dialysis.
Take your pick of which one beats you to the punch first.
Right.
But it's going to happen. But with the medicine, with obviously diet and exercise, you can live a long, normal, healthy life. If you kind of just stay on top of it.
And there's a few questions, kind of a pre-diabetes risk that Tamara's we wanted to mention that to the audience because people need to kind of ask themselves if they fit into any of these categories.
So if this sounds like you, maybe you need to give Tamara a call, and certainly let's get in touch with Susan here and see if we can help you out.
Well, and with the Prevent T2 class, this is something that Susan and I kind of tag team because it is a year-long class, but there's several ways they can qualify. They have to be over 18.
Okay.
But there's two ways. They can have their A1C if it's higher than 5.7%.
Okay.
That's automatically get you in.
Which is most diabetics, because
so an A1C is your average blood sugar for the past 3 months of time.
Mm-hmm.
Normal A1C is 4 to 6.
Okay.
Pre-diabetes is an A1C of 5.7 to 6.4.
And I know, like with doctors and things, when folks that are dealing with diabetes and they look at the lab work every few months, whatever, they want it under 7. If it's under 7, they feel like it's controlled.
Well,
anything above that is when they're like, all right, we need to do something about it.
Correct. Well, and unfortunately, that's about 36 to 40% of New Mexicans fall in that range.
Gotcha.
The other way that they can qualify is through this risk test. So we're going to run through just a simple questions. It's 7 questions long. It's real easy to answer. So the first one's going to ask how old you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you're above 40, you get a point. If you're above 50, you get 2 points. If you're above 60, you get 3 points. And on this risk assessment test, you only have to have 5 points in order to qualify.
So you don't want points in this test. This is not a test you want points.
You want 0. But unfortunately, if you're a man, you get a point.
Well, and guess what? You can't change certain variables. You're going to get older.
Right. Yeah.
You are who you are.
Your parents are who they are.
You got to deal with the cards you're dealt here on this one.
So for women, if they had gestational diabetes, that gives them a point as well. If they're, like Susan said earlier, if their family had it, so their sisters, their brothers, their parents, that gives you a point too. If you've been diagnosed with high blood pressure, that's one of the risk assessments on here too. The other thing is if you're active, yes or no, you get points for that one too. And then the last ones come in with how much extra weight you carry.
Gotcha.
So it's real easy to rank up 5 pretty quick.
It is.
Depending on your life circumstances.
Absolutely. But the good news is it's easy to kind of reverse a lot of this stuff if you're committed to it. That's, and at the end of the day, and this is the part that I think folks will get, and this is where the class is, and working with Susan and folks like that, you kind of learn over time, is that your body changes, you adapt, it's kind of creating a new routine lifestyle for you, and if you can, once you embrace it in that way, and your body's cravings change, your body's desires change, like you start working out a couple minutes every day, your body's going to get into that mode, and it'll be like, and be honest, you're going to start feeling bad on the days you don't do it.
That's right.
Because you're like, my body is so used to doing it. Same with food. You're craving ice cream and pizza all the time right now, but after a while, you keep eating it. And I'm not saying never eat pizza again or ice cream again. That's not what we're saying here. But there's ways to do it, especially with pizza in the world we live in now. Mm-hmm. There's so many different options to create a pizza that tastes like pizza that isn't as bad
healthy
as a pizza.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so I'm not saying they're perfect, but they're better.
That's one of the things we will be teaching too, is how to have some of your favorite foods in a healthier way.
Sure.
Not take everything away, but tweak some things to make them healthier.
It's all about, and this is what your class is really about, is taking this and giving you the tips to make this your new lifestyle.
Correct.
It's trying to say guess what? Okay, you've been diagnosed pre-diabetic. It's not a death sentence. It's not the end of the world. Your whole life has not gone into turmoil. Yes, you're going to have to change some things, but you'll never. Yes, you can see a piece of chocolate cake every once in a while. You can see, it's all about how you do it and how often you do it and how much of it you do it, and that's the thing.
And the good thing is, this program really is about the lifestyle. So it looks at everything. It looks at your sleep habits and your stress habits and how those affect things. That looks at how you can eat out in today's world. Let's face it, a lot of us do that.
Sure.
So the program helps with how to make those selections and things off the menus that are better for us.
And in all fairness, we live in a world where businesses and people are more cognizant of people making. So it's a lot easier in 2022 to do it than it was in 92 or 02. You know what I mean? Because society's wised up, or people are demanding some of this stuff now. So there are options than there wasn't. So maybe you were trying years ago and you gave up, and you're like, but you want to get back kind of into that thing. Please understand, in the world we live in, there's a lot of different ways. Sure, it's still not easy sometimes to go to a steakhouse and get some, you know what I mean?
A salad,
but
chicken.
But at the same time, there are those options, the easier or substitutions that they can do. Like I have family that are celiac, and so it's kind of in the same boat where a lot of carbs and things are being
gluten.
Yeah, gluten and carbs don't always go hand in hand,
but
they seem to be a lot of the same parties. So,
and a lot of people don't realize too that there's things besides food that affect the blood sugar.
Sure,
stress is one.
Your lifestyle absolutely
not sleeping well. If you don't sleep well, your blood sugar in the morning is going to be a lot higher, and it affects your weight. Pain, if you're in pain, that affects the blood sugar. If you have a chronic infection, like your foot's infected, or you have something that, you're going to wound care for, your blood sugars are going to be a lot higher. So there's a lot of things besides just food that affect the blood sugar.
Well, and that's your body's a pretty complex instrument, and it all works in concert. Everything's connected. Everything's related. Even though we're still trying to understand how everything's connected and related, we know that, it's just like in science with the heart and dentistry.
Right.
How, 50 years ago, no one's asking about your heart when you're going in to get a wisdom teeth pulled or something. Nowadays, you can't have one without the other. That's because we know it's all connected.
Correct.
It's no different here. It's if your body's not doing well in one area, it's going to try to overcompensate to fix or to do it, and so it could create problems in other areas. It's like you deal with high blood pressure and all that. Odds are pretty good that your blood sugars are going to be affected by that too. And
another thing too is a lot of people think that food is the problem. It's really not the food that's the problem.
That makes sense.
It's what's going on in your head. Because people that get their head in the game, that are ready to make the good lifestyle changes, those are the ones that succeed and do well.
Sure.
And then we don't see them again, and we're happy about that.
Sure.
The ones that are in denial, don't have their head in the game, they don't want to change, those are the ones that end up on dialysis or
Sure.
losing a foot or
Absolutely.
blindness. heart
Stubbornness
attack.
doesn't always it's sometimes it can be your friend, but not always. And it's certainly when it comes to your taking care of your body and diabetes, stubbornness is not your friend there. At least stubbornness for you're dying on the hill of I'm eating this pizza till I drop dead. Then, well, it won't be long now. Keep eating that pizza. Tamara, this is something I do want to kind of get into real quick though. Is this is where the T2 classes help, because not only are you getting the information and education, but at the same time, it's a support system. Like there's people that are going through it with you. And so when you have those moments of, I'm having a bad day today, because I would imagine most of the people that are taking the pre-diabetes class are also trying to lose weight, because I'm going to guess the majority of them are obese or overweight, and so you're getting physical activity. And we all know that sometimes it's always good to have a partner or a buddy that can kind of help motivate each other and things like that. And so this class is kind of geared that way, where not only are we giving you the lessons and the actual materials to succeed, but we're trying to get you with like-minded people to say, hey, let's all climb this hill together.
Right.
And that's why the class is so great.
So in New Mexico, there's over 14,000 that are diagnosed with pre-diabetes every year, which is big. And research shows that if you lose this much as little as 5% of your body weight, that risk factor goes down by a lot.
Okay.
And so in this class, for the first 3-4 months, we meet once a week just to make sure everybody's going off to a good start. And it is a group. We all help each other. We give ideas or suggestions, what worked for everybody, what didn't work, or, I had experience in this. And so it is very much a group support system. And so the first couple of months we do meet every week. After that, during the summer, we break off and we meet twice a month. And then towards the end of the year, we meet once a month.
You kind of give them a little more independence, like, okay, we're giving you the tools, now you need to go on your own and kind of implement it. Don't worry, we're here when you stumble or have questions, but we're kind of transitioning it from us telling you the idea to you letting you figure it out for yourself a little bit and finding your own.
Stand on your own.
Things that work for you and stuff, but by still keeping within the program's guidelines.
And they get great incentives to help them with that throughout the course of the year. Because let's face it, a year is a long commitment, but when it comes to our health, it's a commitment worth making. But we do give some incentives and stuff that will help them support that throughout the year.
And imagine, like we were talking earlier about patterns and habits and everything, our bodies, they learn good ones like they do bad ones. So I'm thinking in that year, that's probably enough time where your body's shifted its cravings and wants.
Well, they say it takes 21 to 30 days to develop a new habit and to kind of cement it into your lifestyle.
Gotcha. So by then you should be that should give you enough time to kind of create the pattern, create the routine, and now it's just staying on as best we can. Yeah. And you're going to have good days and bad days. And I don't care if you're Susan Dade or anybody else. You know what I mean? We all have a day where it just doesn't.
You want chocolate
or not?
Yeah, but that's just it. If you go in the mindset like, oh, I can't, you're gonna have a harder time.
Right.
It's like if you think of it as what I can't have instead of what I can have.
Right.
Then it's a lot easier. It's the mindset. It's all mentally. It's all. If you go in with a positive attitude and a determination to make this work, you're gonna find yourself having a lot more success. It's kind of like what you were saying earlier. You've got to make up your mind that this is what's for you.
Your health is worth it.
Because if you're not fully committed, you're going. It's not a question of if, it's when. You're going to fall off that wagon and hopefully get back on it. But if without the right mindset, you just don't have a desire to. And that's where this can change. And this is where you need help. If you're trying to do this alone, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's a heck of a lot harder, because there's going to be the days where you hit a wall or you hit just a rough point, and what do you do at that point? And if without the support system, without the help, a lot of people give up at that point.
Correct.
And with that support system, with that person to be with you, to motivate you, to give you the foot in the butt when you need it. That's the difference between success and failure for some folks.
So most of the people that we see will come to us and say, well, I don't know how to eat. I don't know what to buy. I know that I need to make changes, but I don't have a clue what to do.
Sure.
So hopefully Tamara and I can give them the tools that they need to be successful. That's the whole point of all of this.
And I imagine you would find, and this is something that you get, especially in your cooking creations class, where you actually start, cooking foods and showing them foods, which is another class that I recommend you. We'll talk about that another time. But with that, a lot of it is showing them that there's alternatives to what you want to do, or okay, it's again going back to the pizza. Like I literally, I'm talking about Celia. A couple weeks ago, someone gave me a piece of the cauliflower pizza for the first time, and I was like, I would eat that every day. It tastes like a normal pizza to me, and I was like, that's great, but but you would never know that. And now, get me wrong, I mean, pizza's pizza. There's still, I wouldn't eat it every day. But, certainly eating a piece of cauliflower pizza is way better than getting the old school Italian with the pie. Don't get me wrong, those are good. But that cauliflower pizza is a pretty good
So when Tamara and I taught the kitchen creation classes, we kind of major on veggie dishes because around here that's not really a big deal.
We're meat eaters.
So Mexican food. So the majority, 90% of them would say, wow, they just never tried that vegetable, didn't know how, they were amazed.
Sure.
Wow, we like this. This is good. We've never tried this.
Yeah.
So
it's just about, exposing people to new things and seeing it. So please sign up, register for this class. If you've been diagnosed, you're at least 18 years of age and have been diagnosed as pre-diabetic,
or at risk,
then please reach out to Tamara here, and we'll tell you how to do all that here in just a second. And then certainly, if you're looking for, maybe you're on your own here, and like you said, like a lot of your clients have said, I want to eat healthy, but I have no clue what I'm doing here. Please reach out, Susan, and
have their physician refer to me, and I'm happy to help them with that.
And I know, especially if you've been diagnosed pre-diabetic or diabetic or whatever that first time, the doctor, the first thing they should do is, once they get kind of your routine going, is scheduling you with someone like Susan here to sit down and say, all right, so Tamara, you're basically taking that to them. So you can sign up and do all this here. But in essence, anybody that's been pre-diagnosed or
type 2, type 1, gestational.
First thing, once you kind of get the routine on what you're going to do for your plan of treatment, you need to sit down and talk with a dietitian, a nutrition, an expert that can show you, okay, you want to eat, what's your favorite foods? All right, let's find ways to do that which will benefit your body, not hurt your body. And once you work in concert with them, then it's not like, okay, now I'm just going to eat this plain brown piece of chicken and this plain little piece of rice, 6 grains, and I'm done. Or, we turn it into that thing, and then which people work really hard at for a couple weeks or months even. But at some point, you fall off that wagon, and that's what we don't want to create a diet. We're creating a lifestyle.
That's correct.
And that's what this class and everything that you guys teach and show is trying to get people towards. Not let's try Atkins 2.0 or whatever the latest craze of keto, whatever the latest craze is out there. Let's change that to instead of going extremes and trying to manipulate to get a certain result, let's just make it overall a good thing to eat, and that way you don't have to worry about any of it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So classes are going to be Tuesdays at 4:30.
Okay.
Starting on January the 10th.
January
but they
10th.
do need to get pre-registered so that we can get all the supplies and the materials and all the goodies in form.
Classes are limited, so it's first come, first serve till they can fill up the classes here. So, so if you are interested, I would wait to closer to now than closer to January 10th to sign up, because it will fill up fast. I know these classes, all of your diabetes classes fill up pretty quick, regardless of which class it is. They all do get out there pretty quick. So, and I imagine there's probably a few doctors that probably put their client or their patients right in touch with you direct too. So if you haven't had that, or please call the extension office, and we'll give you the number here, or go online and come face to face there in Chisholm and visit the office here, and let's get you signed up for these classes in January.
Right. So we can answer any questions, but do call the office at 575-622-3210.
Yeah, absolutely. And leave a voicemail if you don't get a live person. It's just but half dozen y'all holding down the fort over there. So but please reach out. And by the way, if you've got questions about anything 4-H related, or if you're need to have your pecans looked at, or any of that kind of stuff because of the weevils, the extension office helps you out with all that stuff too.
Yes, sir.
Don't ask Drew about healthy pizzas. I don't know if he can help you there. He can look at it. Go to Tamara to ask you about that. Stick with the pecans for Drew on that one. So, and then Susan, if people want to do a little bit of maybe their own research and things, where would you send people to kind of do their own reading and looking?
Well, so there's a lot of bad information out there, and then there's good information.
Sure.
The American Diabetes Association has a lot of good information, recipes, all kinds of things on their website.
Okay.
The American Dietetic Association also has the same thing. There's a lot of good resources out there. There's a lot of bad resources too. So be careful what your neighbor or your aunt or somebody tells you, because I've heard so many wild stories. I should write a book.
Well, this is the Wild West with the internet and the way it is, and it's good and bad. And what I mean by like when you get all those hack videos for like finding 50 ways to use paper clips for things and all that, that's all cool. But yeah, when you're taking like health and dietary information, unless that's from a registered expert, take it with what the grain of salt it comes from. I'm not saying what they're saying is bad. All I'm saying is it's not researched. It's just stuff that they may have found work. You know what I mean? There's no, whereas an expert that's telling you this stuff, there's so much study, research, trial and error, things that were done to tell you what I'm saying is fact.
And if we lined up 10 people with diabetes, different foods are going to affect them all differently depending on their genetic makeup, where they are in the disease.
Sure. And that's what makes it tricky.
So many, yes. We don't have a one-size-fits-all answer. That's why when we see them, we look at their blood sugars, we look at their lifestyle, we look at everything that they're doing to try to hone in to what that person needs.
Find the recipe that works for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. And that's why, so don't get discouraged, because that's another stigma. A lot of people think, oh, diabetes, look what you did to yourself. And I'm not saying that. Sure, there's a lot of things we do to speed these things up, but there's so many other variables that have nothing to do with it. Like you're saying, the family history, just other outside life variables.
As Tamara said, 5% of your weight is not a lot. People that lose 5 to 10%. So if you weighed 200 pounds and you lost 10 pounds and kept it off, you are going to see a decrease in blood pressure, blood sugar, probably if you have high cholesterol or you don't have to lose 50 to 100 pounds to see an improvement in your health.
Think about it. All your organs are working less harder to do what they got to do while pushing through, so with less weight, which means the arteries have less stuff going through them, so the blood's flowing better, which probably lowers the blood pressure, increases the heart, and those types of things. So yeah, just by losing weight, you might find that you're starting to kind of mitigate a lot of problems and symptoms you're having, including the diabetes symptoms.
Correct.
But it's not just that. Your blood pressure might go down. Your heart starts getting healthier. Things like your skin and stuff like that start looking a little healthier. It's all, it's all attached. It's all connected.
So we're starting to see so many kids now, 8-year-olds to 15, 16, 17 that are really in bad shape. They're not going to outlive their parents. They have prediabetes or type 2, or they have...
The world we live in, that should not happen nowadays.
Yeah, that should not be going on.
Absolutely. So please, and I get it. And like you talked about earlier, psychological, and I think that's a big factor in it too, just because now we're dealing with generations that were taught different things at different generations. Older folks, like my age and around that, we were taught a certain way, or clean your plate and no dessert till you eat your veggies. And
we were a lot more active too than the kids today.
Absolutely.
PE's an option, sports are an option. Sure. Back when we were growing up, it was not an option.
When we were kids, it was like, Okay, it's summertime. Breakfast is over. We'll see you when the street light comes on. You're outside all day, and you're running around and doing what you do.
Swimming and riding bikes.
And I'm not saying, good, bad, or that's life has happened because now we got all kinds of technologies and the world's done changed on us. But you're right. There's a lot of mitigating factors here. But the problem is, you got folks like us. It's like, when I was a kid, we did it this way. And then you teach your kids or grandkids the same way. And you're like, that's, nowadays, and we're finding that's contributing to a lot of our mental food issues we have nowadays and things like that. So, so now we're starting to see, it's not that you crave that all the time, but if you just know better, it's like, well, you rub some dirt on it, that fixed the problem, and and you're convinced that's how you do it, and so we got to kind of combat that on top of the fact that you just, have a craving for whatever, cheeseburger or whatever it is out there. So it's not easy. We're all fighting that same fight. But if you come from that place of understanding, I think you have a better chance of, when you have the low points, of understanding at least where it's coming from, and maybe, some days you win those battles, some days you lose them, some days you win them, but you keep fighting, and that's what matters.
That's right.
Give out the phone numbers again, Tamara, for the extension office. Anybody has any questions or wants to sign up for this class or
any other class,
any other thing we're got going on here,
so
too.
give us a call at the office. The number is 575-622-3210.
Very good. And of course, like you said, if folks are listening here, talk to your primary care physicians.
Have them refer.
And then say, hey, I heard this Susan Data on the radio. I'd like to see if I can talk with her, and they'll get you referred and make all that happen. But please come sign up for this class. If you've been diagnosed as pre-diabetic, or even if you're thinking, maybe this is what's going on, go talk to your doctor. Let's get it looked at, and let's get you on the path to getting you back to where you need to be. Because especially for your young kids, it is you're putting them behind the 8 ball when they're already dealing with these problems before they're not teenagers anymore.
Exactly.
If they're in their 20s and they've already been dealing with diabetes for 10 years, you're putting them behind the 8 ball.
Exactly.
So, it's one thing when a guy like me is dealing with diabetes and 50s, but when they're 12 and dealing with it, they got bigger things they should be worrying about that age, and diabetes isn't one of them.
Right. Thank you for having us.
Anytime. Is there anything we missed? Anything you guys wanted to share or talk about that, surprisingly I sidetracked or didn't get you?
No, I think you're good.
Good deal. Well, thank you, ladies.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you. Sorry about making you all be confused for a minute there.
No worries. Thank you.
I cannot promise that won't happen again, but I will try not to. Merry Christmas to you guys too, and Matt, I guess we'll see you probably your normal one here in a couple weeks here, in a week or two, whenever is it next week or week after? I can't remember, but whenever it is, we'll see you next time here. So thank you guys. Thank you. All right, it is 9:53. Trying to make it earlier all day. Let's go ahead and get you up to.
Now for your Pecos Valley News Update, I'm Jared Cirillo. We begin today in Roswell, where a teenager has been arrested for the murder of another man Friday night. 17-year-old Angel Gonzalez was arrested the following day. He's the man accused of gunning down 27-year-old Angel Bruillet, who was allegedly unarmed when he made threats to shoot Gonzalez and his 14-year-old brother. The shooting took place outside Gonzalez's mother's home in the 400 block of East Albuquerque Street. Police said Bruillet had just been released from the county jail a few hours prior and had been arguing with Gonzalez that day. A traffic alert for you now in Roswell as work continues this week on a section of West Wildy Street between South Main and South Union Avenues. A statement from the city says the work will run through Wednesday. Access will be provided to residents who live in that affected area. You're up to date. That's a look at local news headlines. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We've got some gusty wind coming up from that low pressure system. Doesn't look like we'll be getting any precipitation from that, but wind kicking up to about 40 miles an hour today. We'll have sunshine and pretty mild, our high in the mid-60s. A few clouds overnight, low 30s and windy, and then a little bit cooler on Tuesday. We'll stay in the low 50s, still gusty and sunny. Sunny on Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Wholesale prices in the United States rose 7.4% in November from a year earlier, a fifth straight slowdown and a hopeful sign that the inflation pressures across the economy are continuing to cool. U.S. safety regulators and Honda Motor Company are urging drivers once again to make sure their vehicles haven't been recalled after another person was killed by an exploding Takata airbag. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said Friday that the person was killed in a crash involving a 2002 Honda Accord when the driver's airbag inflator ruptured and hurled shrapnel. Chrysler parent Stellantis on Friday said it will indefinitely halt operations at an assembly plant in Illinois early next year, citing the rising costs of electric vehicle production. The automaker, which employs about 1,400 workers at the Belvidere, Illinois plant, said the action will result in indefinite layoffs. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Roswell Skin Center, a brand new state-of-the-art facility located in the 400 Penn Plaza building here in Roswell, is now accepting new patients. Dr. Brandon Cometti and his team offer a full range of skin care services, including general dermatology, surgical and cosmetic procedures, including cutting-edge laser rejuvenation, Botox, filler, laser hair removal, chemical peels, and other non-invasive options to improve skin health and turn back the hands of time. Call and schedule your appointment at Roswell Skin Center today. 208-2509. That's 208-2509.
The National Education Association of New Mexico, a union of teachers and school staff, believes every child deserves to learn at a school that inspires their imagination, cultivates their curiosity, and ensures a fulfilling life. Public schools should provide all our students with small class sizes and one-on-one attention. NEA New Mexico asks you to join us so together we can end the teacher and staff shortage and invest in our public education system once and for all. Sponsored by NEA New Mexico.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The catfish has over 27,000 taste buds. Do you think they prefer fried or blackened? Here's Mike Winters.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Almost 34 years to the day of the deadly attack, a Libyan man, allegedly a key player in the 1988 bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland, is in U.S. custody. The man is a former Libyan intelligence operative. Cara Monetti Weeps lost her brother in the bombing.
You know, there have been hundreds of family members who have been involved in this, quest over 3 decades. The last 2 years, I can tell you that there have been a small group of us who have met regularly with government officials from the Department of Justice, from the FBI, from the State Department, every 6 weeks, sometimes more frequently.
270 people died in the bombing December 21st of 1988. A second person has been put to death in Iran in connection with the deadly nationwide protests that have roiled the country in recent weeks. With Republicans set to take the House majority, it appears that some Intel officials will have some explaining to do. It has to do with that incriminating Hunter Biden laptop and a pre-election letter signed by the intelligence officials.
Presumptive House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says he plans to subpoena intelligence officials who signed a letter saying a New York Post story about Hunter Biden might be disinformation. The story has been in the news recently as part of the, quote, Twitter files that allegedly show how the platform censored some information that could benefit conservatives and hurt liberals. More than 50 former intelligence officials, including former CIA directors John Brennan and James Clapper, signed a letter in 2020 saying they didn't have evidence to definitively call the New York Post story untrue. McCarthy said of the signatories that he'll subpoena them before a committee when the GOP takes control of the House in the next Congress. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
Gains on Wall Street so far this morning. Right now, the Dow is up 195 points. The Nasdaq 13 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon 2 factors, taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1569.
The European Commission Parliament has been shaken by a money laundering scandal. Belgian prosecutors have charged 4 people, seizing hundreds of thousands of euros in the process.
On Friday, Belgium's Federal Prosecutor's Office announced that more than a dozen raids had been carried out as part of a major investigation into alleged corruption and money laundering. 600,000 euros in cash was recovered as investigators revealed that they had for months suspected that a Gulf state was trying to influence the economic and political decisions of the European Parliament. Qatar wasn't named, but in a statement, its foreign ministry said it rejected any attempts to associate it with accusations of misconduct. The Greek MEP, Eva Kaili, is reportedly one of 4 people who've been charged by Belgian authorities.
That's BBC correspondent Jessica Parker reporting. Townhall.com. Carrying the United Arab Emirates' first lunar rover, a Japanese spacecraft is headed to the moon.
3, 2, 1, ignition, liftoff.
Tokyo company iSpace is on its way to becoming one of the first private entities to attempt a moon landing. Launching from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station under blast off on a SpaceX rocket carrying a robot from Japan that's designed to roll around in gray dust. And with a science satellite already around Mars, the UAE wants to explore the moon too. On board the mission is a lightweight surface-operating rover named Rashid after Dubai's royal family. I'm Mimi Montgomery.
And NASA's unmanned test mission to the moon has wrapped up successfully. That mission coming to a close with the splashdown of the Orion capsule in the Pacific. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Trace and Viernos.
Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you're having a good one.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
So far, so good. To be honest, looking at the weather, it's not getting much warmer than today this week. So the wind.
Soak it in.
Yeah. Because by the weekend, it's supposed to be like in the 40s.
So, fun.
Yeah. So enjoy 60s today, tomorrow, but it's going to get cooler as the week progresses.
It'll get us into that time of the year.
Could be worse. Could be like other parts of the state. They're dealing with snow and all that other stuff.
It's true.
We are not dealing with any of that. We got a little wind and I got to put a coat on.
Yep, do the New Mexico thing, folks. Dress in layers.
Yeah. Although, I was watching, actually I checked it out. and I apologize. I forget the name of this, but I saw it this morning when the show started, and I heard about it. There's a guy from Baltimore, Maryland. I guess he's from there. He lives in Texas now, but he's got some kind of podcast or deal where he goes around and tries food at different places and all that stuff. Okay. And I guess he was in Roswell last week, and so I saw some of his reviews on.
I don't know if it was the same guy, but I ran into a dude at one of the Stripe stations, and he just seemed like a normal guy, but like he had
Ravens stuff on. Baltimore Ravens hat.
No, probably not the same guy. This dude had just like he had two like moving trucks or U-Hauls with him. Like
I don't think
they were
the same
stopping to
guy.
get gas.
Yeah, it's a different guy.
And then I looked in the back of one of them, the moving trucks, and there's a bunch of like camera equipment and like sound and stuff. So,
okay. No, I think it's a different guy.
It's like a full-blown TV show.
No, I think this guy, he's got his deal, but I think he's on his own with his own equipment.
Okay.
He's just a one-man show. He's not with a production team and U-Hauls and everything else. But I saw him, he reviewed Dion's and Popo's and a couple other places.
Oh, cool.
Fan of New Mexico cuisine and the green chili. He was all about that, and he was blown away by the green chili ranch at Dion's and the pizza, and he went with the 505, the pepperoni and green chili.
With the green chili. Yep.
Yeah. So and he was a fan, and he sat there and I watched a good hunk of that video. I didn't catch the Popos, but it looked like he enjoyed that one too. And then so I was seeing some of his different videos and things. And
it's a real hot take subject, and you'll get every answer under the sun when you post this on Facebook. When you go, hey, Mexican restaurants, any recommendations? And everybody's got their favorite.
Well, and there's this one guy that was, and then which it begat me down a rabbit hole of green chili stuff and all that in the comments, because there's like one guy, and he's shown up on multiple things, and I think he's got a Roswell connection, because I don't know if he's from here or lived here or something, but and I don't know if he lives in Colorado now or I don't know. I didn't care that much, but he was trolling like all the people saying Colorado, basically blasting Hatch green chili and just telling people it's garbage and that Colorado chili is
really
better. And I'm like,
how dare you, sir?
Well, I think the guy's just messing with people.
Yeah, of course.
Because that's fighting words in Roswell, New Mexico, when you come in and tell everybody that Colorado's green chili's bad. The only reason you're doing that is to get a rise out of people. That's the only reason. Why would you go in knowing full well that people are they're just doing it?
Yeah.
So
that does have troll written all over it.
Just give a piece of advice to people. When you see people that say something so blatantly dumb like that, just ignore them. They're looking for you to come on and tell them different so they can get you all upset and get you say something stupid on social media.
And you will.
Every time.
And so will I.
It takes a great amount of restraint to not say things to people that appear to say the dumbest things on. But I am convinced, especially like ones of that ilk, where it really isn't not that big. At the end of the day, we're not talking about world peace here. We're talking about people's opinion on a pepper. Okay, what we're talking about here. So yeah, it's not line in the sand type conversations here, but people get that way, and I'm like, you're talking about someone who just doesn't like. Now, granted, I disagree with the statement too, but I think they're just saying it to make you mad. Right. They really, because in all fairness, normal people that don't aren't going to run around they're just going to not like it and do their deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're allowed to not like a thing or like a thing, but
if you're just going to say, knowing full well that most people in this area are going to defend their green chili to their dying breath,
right?
And so part of me is saying, I get you. You want to represent, and I know, and I appreciate that. However, these people probably could care less about the green chili. They're just doing it to make you upset.
Yeah, of course.
In all fairness, anything that you hate as far as food goes or anything like that in your life, how do you handle it? Most of the time you just don't deal with it. I know some people have egos and they feel the need to tell everybody everything about their lives, but most people just like, hey, I don't like green chili. Fine, you don't eat it. You just no thanks. I'm good.
It's the same thing with pineapple on pizza, though. I mean, everybody's going to have their opinion.
But if you're going
it's
on
a
there,
divisive topic,
Well,
and people will set out two in like light the drapes on fire and walk away. Essentially,
yeah. It's only truly divisive if you're an idiot.
It's true.
If you're that mad and ready to kill people because they disagree with your opinion on a chili, maybe you've got the problem. Just saying. Maybe you're overreacting.
Right.
There is no scenario at the end of the day where you said, I did the right thing. Really? Like, really? This all started because you like green chili and they don't.
Right. It's literally the guy on the hill shooting the cans in the movie The Jerk. He was having a bad day, so he decided to take it out on some cans.
Stay away from the cans.
Stay away from these cans.
But
he hates these cans.
We live in a world where people almost can't wait to be offended and mad about something. And it's like, look, I get it. The guy's an idiot. He's saying dumb things. But I think he's saying it to make you guys act like idiots. He's not saying it because maybe he doesn't like green chili. I don't know. But to say something like Colorado green chili is better than New Mexico green chili, and you're saying it just to say it, you're saying it just to mess with people. They don't engage.
Okay,
Don't take the bait.
That or does the Colorado Chili Board have operatives out there who are dead set on
chili?
Yeah, big chili. Dead set on putting Colorado chili out into the world. Like,
possibly.
He's a hired goon from Big Chili up in Colorado.
Okay. I got a report 40 minutes ago from our sales manager that he thinks there's a high-speed chase downtown.
I think I passed one yesterday over on, not Brown Road, Pine Lodge.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, it was a Jeep. It looked very much similar to your Jeep, actually.
It was me.
Being pursued by an officer, and he wasn't stopping. So it was either he didn't realize the cop was behind him and pulled over to move out of the way, or he was the one being chased.
Well, they didn't get me. Sorry.
They didn't
get that guy.
Right. No,
I don't know, actually.
Yeah, I checked. They didn't have your nipple rings. It's fine.
It was different.
Yeah.
But that's all I'm saying is. By the way, our guest is on his way there. Tanner, I got a text also when I got one from Thomas saying possible high-speed chase going on downtown here. So
it's a bad place to have a high-speed chase. You'd think you'd want more open road.
Main Street is the worst street in town for getting anywhere.
Right.
And I say this every time because I see it every time. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know this piece of information. When law enforcement, he's not here yet. He said he's on his way, so I don't think he's down there yet. When law enforcement are trying to get from one end of town to the other on Main Street, they're going to go into the left lane.
Yep.
Get the heck out of the left lane if you are on Main Street trying to go north or south, and EMS emergency service vehicles are trying to get up and down the street.
Properly pull over.
Yeah.
As soon as viably possible.
But get out of the left lane. Don't just
over.
stop in the left lane.
Right.
They are trying to navigate up the street, and they go they'll never go down the right lane. They want you to get over to the right, so get your butt over to the right, and let them go left. I see people, I've watched them, and they all act like complete morons when a cop car or an ambulance comes up the highway here.
In an emergency situation, your left lane is basically the third rail. It's their lifeline.
Yeah, get out of the way and let them. Go right. Let them so they can go left.
To do.
That's what they do. So please put it on a sticky note and stick it on your dashboard. Tell you 16-year-old kids that are just learning to drive and make sure they know. If you own a driver's license and you're licensed to drive, it is your obligation to know this information. If you do not and you're driving, you are doing a disservice to society. You do not earn that driver's license with which they gave you. If you're that idiot, and that's why I judge you so hard, because you've been entrusted with this ability to drive, and if you ruin that trust, I find you to be a troublesome piece of garbage that has no business driving. If you're that idiot that doesn't turn, that doesn't signal, that leaves their car halfway out in the left lane and into the main thing, or drives 10 miles under the speed limit, or understand that the left lane's for passing and all that, if you don't know these things and you're doing them, I judge you, and I do not give you grace on the road, because you should know better.
I will not remit, sir.
It's one of those things.
Sure.
It's to me, it's a basic indicator of how good a human being is. If you're such a jerk that you're not willing to let somebody in that takes seconds off your day, then that's you. You've got problems in your world that you can't, that people, for whatever it is, they get in their car and they think defensive driving means attack on the defense.
It basically means
you wronged me, therefore I must tell you wronged me.
Defensive driving, when done incorrectly, is I'm the only person on the road that matters.
So you get these idiots that someone cuts them off and then they start flashing them and doing it.
So infuriating to me, and this happened twice on the way just to like Artesia last week. Somebody who assumed they were going fast enough in the left lane, but they were not, holding up an entire line of people that were trying to get around a semi-truck.
Yeah.
It's like, you could get over, but you choose not to.
Yep. Those people I judge harshly, because those people are inconsiderate human beings, and they do these kind of things to other human beings in their human being lives.
Yep.
And if you can't be as simple as being simple, just letting someone in or letting them know that you're turning left right now, and it's not hard to tell that. It's not hard. Oh, and by the way, when you're already in the left lane stopped and then you turn on your signal, you're an idiot too. You're a moron, because you know better. You're just stupid.
Sure.
And lazy.
Until, forget that. It turns out there's actually this magic device inside of most automobiles that when you intend on turning left or right or going into a lane that is to the left or the right of you, you can actually signal that that thing that you're about to do. It's insanely easy. You'd barely even have to lift a hand. Just click.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as clicking a mouse. You flip down for left, flip up for right.
New Mexicans are lucky I am not in charge. Because if I were, public transportation would be the most used thing in this state, because I'd be revoking licenses left and right.
I agree. I do want to quickly go back and say I'm willing to give a pass to the people that turn their signals on once they've stopped. I'll give them a pass because
I just think they're self-righteous jerks.
At least they had the decency to signal at some point.
Well, at that point, they're just doing it because I'm supposed to do this.
Right, but still, they're doing it. They're doing the thing they were supposed to do.
It doesn't help anybody. You're in the left-hand turn lane. You're stopped. Clearly, we know you're going left. Your signaling would have been helpful when you were slowing down early to go left, and I have to pay attention to that. And I just see you stop all of a sudden in a place where everyone's flowing, that you chose to just stop because you didn't signal in the first place.
The other thing, and now I've been guilty of this at least a couple of times. If you turn your signal on and it doesn't go off after you've made your turn, turn your signal off.
Well, and I get that one.
That's infuriating to me when I see somebody with their left signal on merging into the right lane.
But I would chalk that up as they don't hear the clicking or something.
Sure.
And so I don't think that's not intention. That's just absent-mindedness. Whereas,
which is why I've done it a time or two.
Whereas, so I don't judge that as harshly. I'm like, all right, you need to pay attention. But I don't judge it as in ill intent, where I take the others as ill intent.
Right.
You could care less enough to me to even think that it's a good idea. To me, that means you're just a classless person that does not think of others.
Because of those errant signals, that is the reason, until you actually make the motion to turn down the road that I'm trying to turn off of, I'm not going to come out. You could very well be have left your signal on and just be going 65 when I think you're about to turn.
Yeah, it's just one of those my life things, how I judge people. You know how some people say, well, if that dog comes up and doesn't like that person, that's usually a good clue. And I agree with those people.
Right.
I also do that with traffic. I'm like, if you don't have the common decency to be nice enough to a stranger to let them know something very simple or let them in, that speaks volumes to me and the type of person you are. If you're not that willing to help others in something that minute and simple, then you're a piece of garbage. and probably are doing much bigger and more nefarious stuff.
Mhm.
That's why I judge you, and I will continue to judge you until I die.
And we'll continue to do so.
Because to me, it's too simple to be polite while driving.
I agree.
It's too easy, and people that refuse to do it, that tells me a lot about you.
People get wrapped up in their own bubble? Sure.
Yeah. So you continue to do it, but I will
Pop your
judge
bubble and realize that there's other people around you that would prefer a little courtesy.
you. I will judge you as a person that does not care about humanity, and that's how I feel about you. I know people are like, that's awful. Is it? I mean, if you can't do something as simple as telling people you're turning left because of what? What reason do you have that's so important that you refuse to put your left-hand signal, other than you are even considering other people? It's me, and then the road's a different thing. We all have a responsibility.
You're driving.
When you give that license to you, you're saying we're putting a set of trust in you.
Right.
And if you're not doing that, then you have no business
You're
driving.
driving a death machine.
Yep.
This thing is the thing that you are piloting is capable of homicide.
You're a bad person as far as I'm concerned. It's one of those indicators. It's like people that treat dogs bad.
If you give somebody a sword and then they just ran out of the room like swinging wildly, you're probably going to want to take that guy's sword away.
Yeah, exactly. These clowns with cars. So anyway, all right, soapbox over. It's 9:23. Elliot Rodriguez with Lone Depot going to join us in just a bit. I have not heard, I knew he's on his way, but I have not seen that he's here yet. So we'll give him a few more minutes. Let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We've got some gusty wind coming up from that low pressure system. Doesn't look like we'll be getting any precipitation from that, but wind kicking up to about 40 miles an hour today. We'll have sunshine and pretty mild, our high in the mid-60s. A few clouds overnight, low 30s and windy, and then a little bit cooler on Tuesday. We'll stay in the low 50s, still gusty and sunny. Sunny on Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 50 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 89%. Winds currently out of the south at 15 miles per hour. Sunny today. Expect a high of 65 degrees. With that, the winds are coming too. Winds will be out of the south 10 to 20 this morning. Later increasing 20 to 30, gusting as high as 40 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy with an overnight low of 31 degrees. Winds will be out of the west 15 to 20 miles per hour. Sunny for you Tuesday, a high of 51 expected. Winds will be blowing tomorrow as well out of the west, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Later increasing 20 to 30, gusting as high as 40 miles per hour. Tuesday night, mostly clear with an overnight low of 27. Winds out of the west, 15 to 20 miles per hour. Wednesday, sunny, 53 for a high. West winds 15 to 20, gusting as high as 30 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny skies, 52 for a high. Friday, mostly sunny and 46. And for the weekend, mostly cloudy, 43 for Saturday, partly cloudy, and 48 on Sunday. All right, it is 25 minutes after 9 o'clock. Let's go ahead and take a commercial break. Elliot Rodriguez with Lone Depot going to join us in just a bit. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
When Rhonda was experiencing severe abdominal pain, she knew she could count on Artesia General Hospital's emergency department to provide critical care any time of day or night.
I didn't think twice about driving the 45 minutes from my home to Artesia's ER. I felt like I was their only patient. Excellent care from everyone, and I'm thankful beyond measure.
Each year, thousands of patients trust Artesia General Hospital with their health emergency. With specialty certifications in advanced adult and pediatric life support and trauma care, their emergency room physicians have the experience you need when every second counts. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Learn more at artesiageneral.com/emergency.
The Grinch stole Christmas and brought it all to Roswell Honda. And it's your chance to score big. Now through December 17th, stop in, get registered to win, and find a sleigh full of savings. Like a 2019 Toyota Corolla for just $299 a month, or a 2016 Hyundai Elantra for just $179 a month. Then join us on December 17th from 10 to 1 for free food and the chance to play the punch game and win. Designer purses, an Amazon Echo, AirPods, a Keurig, an air fryer, and so much more. Even a 70-inch TV or an Xbox Series S. Slide in to win at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd.
Jennifer from Trustmark Roofing here, and I can tell you it's not always easy being a female in a male-dominated business like roofing. I remember one time I was at a meeting to bid on the roof for a local college, and it was me and 13 men. Well, I won that bid, and I'd like to win your business too. My dad was a contractor, and I've been around building and roofing my whole life. I'm licensed and bonded, and I've forgotten more about roofing than most roofers ever knew in the first place. But what really sets Trustmark apart is an obsessive attention to detail that ensures that everything goes smoothly the first time. I promise we will treat you right with respect, and we will make you happy. So yeah, it might be a bit odd for a woman to own a roofing company, but give us a try. Let us give you an estimate for your roof. I think you'll be glad you called. For all your roofing needs, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at TrustmarkRoofPros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
At Anderson Bethany Funeral Home and Crematorium, we honor and pay tribute to the achievements of your loved one by celebrating the life you shared together. Anderson Bethany Funeral Home and Crematorium is compassionate and cares about our local community and the families we serve here in southeastern New Mexico. Locally owned and operated, we will be here to help you decide how to celebrate the bond you've shared and pay tribute to the unique individual you've lost. Visit us at 2609 South Main in Roswell or call 622-5888.
If you need a Kubota that works and plays hard, stop looking. You'll find everything you need at Amigo Machinery. When it comes to tough Kubota tractors, mowers, construction equipment, and utility vehicles, all with low-rate financing, Amigo Machinery is your one-stop shop. We are passionately committed to providing our customers with the highest quality products, most innovative solutions, and services delivered with integrity and professionalism. Stop by Amigo Machinery in Roswell or see us online at amigo-machinery.com.
When you're not feeling well, the last thing you want to worry about is how soon you can get in to see your healthcare provider or even finding a provider if you don't have one. Well, now you can feel better knowing that the Loveless Healthcare Center in Roswell offers appointments for when you're not feeling well or for checkups, annual exams, or any chronic issues that need attention. To schedule an appointment or to find a new healthcare provider, call 575-627-4200 today.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Men are 6 times more likely to be struck by lightning than women. That's because men are 6 times more likely to wear a tinfoil hat in a thunderstorm. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 9:29, and joining us in the studio this morning from Lone Depot, Elliot Rodriguez, back with us. Good morning.
Morning, Roswell.
How are you doing?
Good. Merry Christmas to all.
Yeah. How was? I don't think I've spoke to you since Thanksgiving. How did life? How was your Thanksgiving and everything? It was good. Good.
I had a good time. The wife and I.
Nice. Did you have friends or family, or was it just you guys? Or nice. So lots of leftovers. I'm assuming was plenty of those and plenty of leftovers.
We enjoyed it pretty well.
Gotcha. So let me ask, what about Christmas? What's plans? Are you going to be in town, out of town, or?
Well, I have a lot of stuff going on. Trying to finish up the office, trying to get everything ready.
Yeah, getting that. Yeah, because you've been kind of settling.
Yeah,
and getting that.
I took my time on this one. So usually one thing's done quicker.
So using the holidays to kind of set you up for 23, basically.
Yeah, I'm going to get everything ready. The place is looking up, really good.
Good deal. Are you working out of the office now, or still kind of setting up?
No, but I could still meet somebody there if I have to.
Got you, but it's not your full home base.
Not at the moment,
but it's
soon.
In construction,
yes,
or in renovation, or in remodel.
Yes.
Of thing. So, well, good deal. But if you need to get a hold of Elliot, his office is Roswell, so he goes anywhere and everywhere to take care of his customers' needs.
Whatever it takes to make it happen.
Yeah. Now, for folks that aren't familiar, Elliot joins us each month. Now, Elliot is not a real estate agent. He's a loan officer. He's a gentleman that procures the financing for the home of your dreams or what you're looking to buy. So he gives sage advice for homeowners for the financial side of things. You know, when it comes to picking hardwood or laminate or whatever you want to go, that's a conversation with your real estate agent.
Yes.
But when in terms of can you afford laminate or hardwood flooring or those kinds of things, that's where Elliot comes in.
That is correct, 100%.
And he has a special spot in his heart for first-time homeowners, folks that have never bought a home before, because obviously and we say this, one of the biggest major purchases, biggest decisions that a family or individual makes in their life is purchasing a home and purchasing that. It's the biggest, most of us, unless we're not all Elon Musks or Bill Gates or anything, most of us, a house is the biggest thing we buy. So
you can't write a check.
Yeah. So it is an intimidating process, and it's easy to make a mistake or listen to people that have ulterior motives, and sometimes, and unfortunately, you get in that world, and people aren't always about your needs; they're about their needs. And Elliot is one of those people. Sure, he wants to take care of his family and earn and be a millionaire just like everybody else. But he also understands that he's grooming people to be longtime clients. Maybe you're buying your first home now, but most of us, that's not your forever home. That's usually a first one that's probably missing a few of the things that you would love in your home. But you're a new couple starting out, whatever, life's young. You're not buying Taj Mahal in your first house here. You got to get up to that. Mm-hmm. So, and that's where Elliot sets that table for you to help you, make the right decisions that first time. So when you buy your forever home or your next home or whatever it is, you go back to Elliot and say, hey, let's go through the process again here, and And Elliot likes to steer people straight. He's not going to try to put you in the most house because that's what you can afford. He's going to put you in the most house that's right for you. He's going to try to, where the real estate agent, sure, they're picking out the 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, but talking to Elliot tells you, yeah, that's great, but I can't really afford that house. That house, yes, technically I'm cleared for that, but I want to buy food, I want to buy other furniture, I'm going to accrue other expenses. So, and let's face it, sometimes those numbers don't get factored in when you're buying. They're looking at your debt to asset ratio right then at that moment and seeing that kind of stuff, and they're determining based on those numbers alone, not what you want to do 10 years from now. And Elliot's going to be like, well, what's your end game here? What's correct? Where are we at? And so he's going to set the table, not for you to get the house right now, but for get the house that you want to get and do what you want to do down the road, while at the same time putting you in a place that you love right now and helping set the table. And that's where Elliot really works, is he separates the fantasy from the reality. And because unfortunately, it's easy to get convinced to buy more than you can afford or deserve, and let's face it, house is an investment. It's the one piece of thing that you buy. And I've been talking, it's supposed to be Elliot talking.
He's doing a good job,
it's
though.
The DJ in me. It's the DJ in me.
But you know what? Yeah, I'm the guy that gives you the money.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, obviously, lately everybody wants to max it out, though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but that's okay. But yes, if I tell you maybe you shouldn't go that far, maybe you shouldn't, take it that far, it's the reason why I'm telling you
it's
that.
It's okay if you're willing to sacrifice elsewhere. That's
and that's the thing. A lot of people forget, like, you know what? If you used to go with the family out to eat dinner every single week, okay, and you want to push it to the limit, maybe not. It's not going to be every week. Maybe it's going to be every other week.
Sure,
maybe even once a month.
Yeah.
So it really depends. I mean, and it is a scary thing for a lot of people. I love helping brand new buyers to buy their homes. Obviously like you always say, if it's your 50th home, I'm still here for you as well.
Sure.
And I love, because I love, I don't know, my wife say I'm a fixer and a pusher or whatever. I don't know how that phrase goes, but she says some weird things.
Well, you like to put the dream in the people's heads. That's the realistic dream. We all want that dream of the place to settle down, the perfect home, the perfect family. We all, whether your idea of that looks like is up to you, but we all want that same thing, I think. You know what I mean?
And I'm going to uncover every stone to help you, okay? Because there's a lot of programs out there, okay? And a lot of people tell other people, no, you cannot buy a house. I got a good example. This weekend, I think it was Saturday, okay? I got a phone call. Got a real estate agent tell me, hey, Elliot, I got a customer that went such and such place, and they're given a pre-approval before, and now suddenly, we are not approved. It's like, and she tells me, well, and they're supposed to close on the 18th or on the 20th, because 18th is a Sunday, I think. Anyway, so the point is, she called me out of nowhere, that particular individual, and they're telling me this, and I'm like, sure. I mean, like we always talk about the magical one from Harry Potter. He let me borrow it once in a while.
Right.
No, but I love those things because I want to show out everybody out there.
Sure.
That there's a lender that actually cares. Go the extra mile. I mean, we're talking about Saturday, folks.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, I'm not saying everybody bombard me on a Saturday. Please don't do that.
But you go
I will be there
outside
for you.
the realm of what a 9 to 5 would, or a loan officer would do to help people.
And let me tell you something. So I talked to the individual. He made some comments and this and that's like, that sounds very interesting. Everything you're telling me doesn't seem to be right. And it happens. And then I was told like, well, I haven't talked to the lender that much either. Blah blah blah. But that's also another mistake right there. And then after I talked to him and I figured it out, I figured like, no, you cannot do it like that. The way you have it, it's not going to work. Sorry, that's the wrong approach completely.
Sure.
And then I switched a few things. It's a little more unusual, for the situation, but this is the only way you can do it right now.
Sure.
At this very minute.
It's a better way to achieve what you want.
Exactly.
With less pitfalls.
And unfortunately, I had to tell him, well, you had to come up with this much, and you had to ask the seller for a little more time, because to be able to make it happen if you still want this house. If not, let's regroup. I'm going to take care of you. So now it's between them to do the negotiating.
Sure.
But at least I was able to turn it around and that I can make it happen for them.
Your clients have to decide what they want.
Yes.
And you make that happen. Along the way, you're like, I recommend this. This is probably not the best way to go because of XXX.
Exactly.
However, if you understand the liabilities and litigations here, I will go with you, but I'm warning you right now, these are the potential pitfalls. And that's as your job as a loan officer, that's what the best you can do in the honest upfront answer.
True. I mean,
it's like, look, I'm here to serve your needs and do what you want. What I'm telling you is I have a better way, but if this is the way you want to do it, I will help you and you guide your hand through that.
Actually, I'm going to close the deal in about 2 hours. Okay, that is very interesting. We started in one way, and things sometimes they're a little out of your control, and you had to adjust and fix a few things. It's funny because we fixed a few things and changed some things that the way I would love to start from the beginning, I wasn't able to, but we're going to end up being that way,
Gotcha.
Which is very interesting.
Sure.
And the funniest thing in the end of the day, somebody wants to really...
They're hungry.
They're hungry. It's 9 o'clock in the morning.
That's right.
But it's funny because we ended up in the end, even at a better position, customer bringing even less money to the table, okay? And they're still getting their home.
That's great.
I mean, this is what I love. I mean,
sure.
A lot of lenders sometimes when, hiccups happen, they tend to like run away, okay? Or you don't hear from them or something like that, In my book, that
because that
doesn't
requires work.
Well, it requires work.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, trying to be mean or nothing, but some people had no backbone. I'm sorry, okay?
Well,
I have to put it just like that.
Well, and that's just, here's the difference, because and if I'm off, please tell me here. In your world as loan officers, it's a cutthroat industry. You thrive off.
It can be very bad.
You thrive off commission, and so you have people that their end game is to fill their bottom line with better numbers, and they don't care how many bad deals they've done to get to that number. They don't care about that. And here's where you come in.
There's some truth to that, yes.
Elliot he's hungry too. He wants to earn a living, wants to be a millionaire. He wants the American dream like everybody else, and he's working that way.
I tell every agent out there,
yeah.
and hope the ones that are listening get it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I am perfect, but I look for perfection every single day.
Sure.
And a lot of people say, well, like, what the heck does that mean? Well, you know what? What that mean is, if anybody comes to you and telling you that they know everything, they're full of it.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
They're lying.
Okay, they're lying.
Or an egomaniac.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, some kind of narcissistic individual or some crazy nonsense. The point of the matter is, okay, we are bringing to the town one of the best lending companies in the United States right now today.
Sure.
And a lot of people say, you're talking craziness. What does that mean? Well, it means a lot, okay? Loan Depot is the number 2 largest lending company in the United States that is not a bank. I mean, that's huge.
Sure.
Okay.
Which means the rules come from a different place, which means that gives them the flexibility to have a heart when they need to.
Are we public, trade? Yes. You know, but guess what? That can change in any given day.
Sure.
Right? And they're actually working on that because in that way they don't have to really put everything out there, and they can do even more.
Sure.
But the fact of the matter is, I work in many different places throughout the years in my career. Okay, and right here today is the one place that I can do a lot more than I ever did before.
Sure.
And a lot of agents don't know that yet. A lot of agents don't even know that I used to be a branch manager before in Colorado.
Yeah.
Everybody thought Elliot went to work there to just learn the business.
Like, no, I was in a bank just like everybody else at the point.
I've been doing financing for, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I've been doing real estate for over 25 years.
Yeah, you cut your teeth in the bank.
Okay.
Now you've been in on your own or with other non-bank financial institutions for a while.
I was an outsider. I came to Roswell. I'm not from here. To be honest, before I came to Roswell, I was the branch manager for TCF Bank in, Colorado Springs. And by the way, that means the customers first. All right. And I love that. Okay.
Sure.
So a lot of people don't know about this, and when I came here, I actually came here to go to Bank of the Southwest, to be honest. Before I came here, I was trying to do that. And because I wasn't an outsider, I didn't get the opportunity to do anything. Okay.
Gotcha.
So I didn't get that, I'll probably be in there right now, possibly. Okay. Who knows? All right.
But you had to put a foot in the door and you had to force it in a few places. Yeah.
So when I came here, a bigger bank actually gave me a chance, but I had to start from the bottom up. And I worked my way up, and that's the part that established me here in town.
Sure.
And that's actually how, I think we met because of Stearns, okay, at the time.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Okay, but before all that, I was doing all the Chamber of Commerce and everything with, West Fargo at the time, so, and I loved it. I love business, I love to make people money. I love to help people, excel and do better. So inside of me, it's always been the mortgage thing and never went away.
Sure.
So, and I guess
that's where you can do the most good in the financial world.
I mean, it's exciting. I remember selling vacuum cleaners, for God's sake, knocking door to door.
Sure.
Okay. And I mean, and I did this for a decade. Okay. I didn't do this, for like a few months or whatever. I did this.
Wasn't a gig for you. It was a career for 10 years.
That's what brought me here to town, because I actually sold vacuum cleaners in this town. I'm still like, I'm wondering one day maybe I've done it and I just can't remember.
Right.
And I helped somebody buy a house, but I don't recall anybody that I have helped buy a house that they actually bought a vacuum cleaner, because I saw a lot of them here, and I started working at Carlsbad and I worked my way up, Artesia here, Clovis, Alamogordo, all over the place.
You got all of Southeast New Mexico.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And this is where I met my wife. So I started dating her, and I decided to come back here. Okay, but the point is,
love will make you do things, won't it?
Yes,
that's how I ended up here.
Yep. But no, I did the mortgages in Colorado, and I loved it. I love helping people, and I remember when I was selling vacuum cleaners, and I was like, I want to do bigger. I want to do something different, something that. It's cool. I'm helping. What is that? I'm helping America clean itself little by little, one house at a time.
But at the end of the day, you're giving people the piece of the pie, man.
Well, yeah,
and their foot into the dream, and that's
like you were saying. It's one of the biggest things anybody ever gonna do in their life. I mean, it's in the top 5 things you're ever gonna do.
Yeah.
Buying a home. And I love doing that because I see that face and those eyes and people signing papers. Yes, it's scary. Yes, you're getting in debt. But you know what? You have to pay and live somewhere. So
it's the first thing for people. You say it's your own. That's why it's such a big deal when you get the first house.
Yes.
And you get the keys and you walk in.
It's yours.
And you don't care if it's a dump or a Taj Mahal. You're like, it's mine. It does not belong to anybody else but mine. If I want to make that wall pink, I can make that wall pink. It's my
and
house.
I love helping people buying their first home.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing I think ever.
Yeah.
And God has given me the opportunity to be part of something so big for some people.
Sure.
You may not talk to me for years to come, but I'm always here for you.
Sure. And that's the idea.
And that's the thing, And right now, I can say just like this, I don't know if there's any lender out there in this town, especially that care more about the customers than I do.
Sure.
They make some people say, no, that's not true. But you know what? I can prove it to you every day that that's not true. That is actually really that I care. So the fact of the matter, at the end of the day, is I'm not going to push you in a bad place. If you push the limits, that's a different story. I cannot help that because in the end of the day, you guys are the boss.
Sure.
I do what you guys tell me to do. But if you want the company that's going to back you up and make sure this stuff happens, because that's what I've been looking for years, trying to make sure that
that company.
Trying to make sure that I can do everything that I can do to take care of my customers. And guess what? I got given the opportunity, even though I wasn't even looking for it. Sometimes you have no other choice that you have to take, take charge, if you may.
Yeah.
So, but I love it. I do more than I ever did to, for customers that we're capable of doing for customers that I ever did before in other places that I ever worked.
Well, that's why you set the table that way, and it's because you're creating an opportunity. It's not about the house, and that's the major difference between you and a loan officer that's just trying to meet goals and numbers and things like that. Because let's face it, it probably takes more time for you to close some of these deals for people that
sometimes, yes,
that have issues, credit issues, or whatever. It takes a longer time.
But they're very grateful people.
Exactly.
And I love it. I love seeing that face and that smiling that, they're happy.
But other loan officers look at that as the juice isn't worth the squeeze. I'm investing X amount of hours for X amount of dollars where I can put in less dollars or less hours and get a bigger deal with someone who's at the end of the day is going to get me a bigger commission check.
Well, that's very true.
And so you deal with that in the industry that Elliot works in. And so that's why it's such a big deal to have a guy like Elliot, Elliot's like, I would rather spend longer time working with someone that's going to be put in a house and at the end of the day realize just what's going on and understanding it and appreciating it versus someone that I can make a quick buck off of. That's a good point. It's a very dry vanilla transaction.
There's a lot of people out there that if your loan is not $300,000 or higher, they don't have the time for you.
You're not worth my time.
I believe any loan, is important.
Yeah.
I believe every customer is important. I treat every customer like it's $1 million customer. Okay, not saying I'm perfect. Okay. But like I said, I strive for perfection every single time that I can.
Every one of your clients are important to you because they're your clients, not because one's spending $500,000 and one's spending $100,000.
Exactly. I just closed the deal last week. Okay, and this is huge, guys. And I talked about this before. The renovation programs are out there. Okay. Now, because you cannot find the right property for yourself doesn't mean you cannot buy a house.
Sure.
What if you are in the neighborhood that you want and there's a few houses that need a little fixing? Okay. Guess what? We can do that. I just proved it. I just did an FHA renovation loan last week. That these people would not be able to buy that house at all the way it is. And we were able to do that for them.
Nice.
And this is not a $300,000 or $500,000 place. Okay, this is just a normal, small house. But the point is, the matter is, these people are super happy.
Absolutely.
And these people got a home now for their kids and themselves, and now their family is going to strive. And only God knows if they call me, 2 years from now, say, you know what? Thank you, Elliot. We're going to rent this house now.
Sure.
We want to buy a bigger house because we have grown.
They'll take it. Say they invest $10,000 in doing work on the house over a year or two in the time they're in there. Then they're going to turn around and sell that house for probably twice the price they paid for it because that $10,000 worth of renovations translates to $100,000 worth of resale value.
That can happen.
That's an extreme. But
yes.
What I'm saying is by them buying this house and then going and replacing the flooring or redoing the kitchen or bathrooms, they can basically get that money back and then some when they go to sell that house.
Correct.
So this is why renting versus owning is the way to go. You'd rather own a dumpy house that you can reinvest yourself in, and when you sell it, you made money, rather than rent to somebody, pay $800 a month or $1,000 a month, and have nothing to show for it after you're all said and done.
Yeah, like we always say, if it may not be the Taj Mahal, but it'll be the Taj Mahal later.
Absolutely.
You could fix it up. A little elbow grease and a little pain makes a big difference on a home,
It's no different than that philosophy of trading, like where they, I got a paper clip and then I trade it for a book and then I trade the book for a lunchbox and next thing you know they got a car or house or something. It's the same concept, but you're taking the money, taking what you do, buying it for low, investing a little money and selling it for a lot more. It's like house flipping. There's people make all that money.
Oh, all the time.
You don't have to do that. You could do that for your own personal gain, for your own house.
Okay.
You know, I'm going to live in here 5 years, but I'm going to put in a bunch of money, and in 5 years, this house is going to be worth 3 times what it was when I bought it.
And let me tell you something. Now that you mentioned, flippers and stuff like that, guys, if you listen out there, okay, don't be afraid of what's happening in the market. It's about to get better. I've been forecasting it, and so far we're hitting it right on the nail every single time. The fact of the matter is, if you don't gonna buy because the market is, the interest rate is a little higher or whatever, they actually got better because you're paying less in points now that we were 2 months ago.
So it corrected a little bit.
So it corrected a little. That's the whole idea of what the Feds are trying to do. It's kind of impossible for them because they made all the damage themselves.
Sure.
So anyway, but the point of the matter,
they're trying to put the beer back in the bottle,
exactly,
so to speak. Yeah.
But don't fall behind because of that. Because this is the thing. Investors, I'm going to take advantage of this now because that means if the prices are going now or they're actually balancing out, or should I say stabilizing them, it means the price of homes are now increasing every other week, like it was happening for the past 3 months plus. Okay, now is your chance to still go and buy. Don't be afraid of that. Go out there, not with the rate in mind, but which home can I afford? And if you approach it that way, then later you can refinance it to a better interest rate. So don't let the people that have the money out there, investors and so on, take all the homes. What is happening right now, all the brand new homes, all the new builds, all these investors going to come and take them from under all of us, okay? And if you are afraid of the market, then you're not going to buy a house.
Sure.
And then when the rates are lower, then the house's price is going to go back up again. So don't get crazy or all confused about all the gimmicks everybody's telling you. Like I always said, when you are ready to buy a house, it's the time to buy a house.
Sure.
Don't wait about what is happening in the market or for later to be better and all this different nonsense. It's when you're ready, is when you should buy a house.
When
don't
you
be
need
afraid.
a house, you need a house.
You need a house.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid of any of that stuff that's happening. You can always make your situation better after the fact.
Sure.
Okay. But at least you could buy a house maybe for $20,000 less.
You're in the game.
And you're part of the game, like we always say right here.
Yep. You're in the game.
So don't be afraid. I'm working for a company that we pretty much have every program that there is. Okay. So now I have the tools.
Sure.
I have the resources to do even more than what I ever did before.
The specialized loans, teachers, VA, law enforcement.
Let me tell you something. I'm already certified in renovation loans. Okay, and I'm gonna be truthful. I lost faith on renovation loans previously.
Okay. Now you're back on board.
I came to Loan Depot. I went to the training, got certified, and I started saying, "No, you cannot do that." Like they say, "No, yes, you can." I almost thought I was listening to Obama's, like, "Yes, you can, yes, you can." No, but the fact of the matter is, I'm almost like you said, born again renovation loan guy. Because and a lot of agents like, "Nah, why you keep pushing that?" The fact of the matter is, guys, if there's houses out there that needs a little fixing. So they can qualify for VA or they could qualify for FHA.
Sure.
Sometimes all you need to do is fix a handful of things. And guess what? That makes the difference.
Absolutely.
And now you could buy that house.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
The house that you may be, eyeing forever in your neighborhood or where your grandpa or where your grandma lives or whatever, or your parents live.
Yeah.
And that house finally is available, but it needs some fixing. Who cares? Okay, you can make a house a Taj Mahal later.
It's all about doing your homework.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I'm here to help you try to find a home.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid of what is happening in the market. Okay. We don't. In general, lenders in general, they're not going to let you buy a house because that you cannot buy.
Exactly.
Okay. We're not there. All right. That happened. About a decade ago.
Yeah.
That's not happening right now. Some of those programs are coming back, but you just have to be educated about it. In that way, you don't have to be in that situation.
Don't fall in the same traps that people did 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Exactly. Reach out to Elliot. Like I said, his permanent office is almost ready for.
I mean, I can meet you there. I just have to know because I'm in and out, and I'm not there.
You're not living there yet. So
I'm going to be at 204 West 2nd Street.
Okay.
Suite number 5.
That's the home address or home office.
That's the local address here.
But in the meantime, just call him direct through his cell phone, 719-237-4680. Again, that's 237-4680. If you call the main office, 505-445-2070, they'll reroute and redirect you to them. You can also go check out his website or email him direct. You can go and see his website, see all what he does, and learn about what he offers and everything else. Go to loandepot.com/Elliot Rodriguez.
Correct.
loandepot.com/Elliot Rodriguez. Or you can shoot an email, Elliot Rodriguez @loandepot.com.
Correct.
All one word and a little ampersand there for the @ and then you're good to go. So
yeah,
excellent.
Yeah, if you've been thinking about buying a house and you haven't taken that leap, or people telling you you can't buy a house, or you have applied in the past and you were saying no, you can't. You know what? Let me take a look, because I've been telling a lot of people yes, you can. And when other people have said the opposite.
Yeah.
And it's the awesome feeling to see somebody's face light up. I mean, you could even tell on the phone when you're telling them yes, you can. And it's like, I really do. It's like, yes,
the magic.
And
it is.
And I mean, everybody needs a home.
Absolutely.
So, and that's the part I love.
Absolutely. Well, Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
And then we'll talk to you, I guess, here in 2023.
2023 is coming.
See what that year brings us.
This year's almost over.
Maybe we'll be back to we're talking about good stuff again. So.
I think everything is going to be better. So it's coming, guys. Everything is going to get better. We live in the United States of America.
There you go.
So don't lose hope. Everything is the hope is always there.
Absolutely.
You just have to leverage it and use it.
Absolutely. So thank you, Elliot. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me.
All right, quick break before we get kicked off the radio. Don't go away.
This is the owner of Trustmark Roofing, and nothing makes us happier than telling our customers no. As in, no pricing games. We give you a guaranteed price, and then we stand by it. No surprises, no gotchas. No obscurity. We don't just tell you what's wrong with your roof. We record our inspections and show you. No lemons. We install premium roofing materials from top brands like Owens Corning. No shortcuts. We're in the 2% of roofers with the Owens Corning Preferred Contractor Certificate for our local area. This means we offer precision installation and the longest warranties. Want a beautiful new roof that's built to last? Choose Trustmark Roofing, the roofer that loves to tell our customers no. For an estimate, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Your home for Sean Hannity in Roswell. 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.